Board in the City Hall and filed in the City Clerk's office. Formal action will be taken.
Roll call. Mr. Blakely.
Present.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson. Mr. Harrison.
Present.
Mr. Michelle.
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Present.
Ms. Vaughn. Present. Ms. McBride.
Present.
Members of the governing body, on the agenda for this evening is a presentation by Westrum Development pertaining to parking changes around the Hughes Justice Complex.
Good evening. Arch Listener, I'm the acting director of inspection right now. This is a project that dates back to 2002. Was initially approved by CityCoucil. And there's quite a issue here that legal is going to give a short synopsis on, and then we'll let them go into their presentation. Thank you.
Essentially, this development of a lawsuit that was brought in 2010 that involved the city, the state, and the developer as well. The city, the state, and the developer as well. The settlement was approved by a resolution in October 2013, and this is just proposed redevelopment around the property. The settlement is extensive. It's a large spot, and we'll need to take more time to look at all the legal options and ramifications behind it. But right now, this is just a presentation for a proposal to develop.
Thank you.
Good afternoon or good evening, members of council. And my name is John Western. I'm Chairman and CEO of Western Development Company. I'm happy to come before you tonight to talk about, I want to make sure I clarify this, it is a proposed revised plan for the Trenton Square property, not a master plan of the city. So where you see this word master plan, we call it a master plan for parking areas around the Hughes Justice Complex. I don't want to make any clarification that would be anything other than that, because it does not have anything to do with the whole Trenton City master plan. So I'm going to try to make this brief and basically tell you about what we're proposing, a little bit about our company, why we chose the area, what the city-state relationship is. Your city attorney told you a little bit about a settlement agreement that was happened in 2011, 2012, and why we would like to propose this. It does not have to occur. If there's no action requested, this is for information purposes only, but I think it's a possibility or an attempt to invest a large amount of capital in the city of Trenton, and we want to get your feedback. A little bit about the properties and products that we'll be proposing, what the opportunities and benefits are, and how things would work with our next steps. So, a little bit about our company. We've been in business over 30 plus years. We've built 4,300 homes and apartments in the southeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, design, develop properties, rezone things all over the place. A little bit about where we've been, predominantly Philadelphia area, Bucks, Montgomery, Chester, Delaware, and then scattered in New Jersey, and I've also done some properties in Trenton. The most one that you probably know about would be a property called Cooper's Crossing. It actually arose out of the 2003 settlement agreement with the city of Trenton and the state, in which we developed the Cooper Crossing property that you can see right here, and that shows its proximity to Trenton. I think everybody knows what that is. Our experience is that we've developed numerous redevelopment properties. If anybody's familiar with over in the Philadelphia area, former library, state hospital, it was a mental institution, the largest one in the state of Pennsylvania, on 125 acres in northeast Philadelphia. And this is what the before looked like, and this is what the after looks like. This is 332 townhomes, carriage homes, and singles, developed right through the recession. Very difficult, but we had a lot of experience doing that. If anybody's ever been to the stadiums down by the stadiums in Philadelphia, they're former naval barracks down there called Packard Park. We took that property and basically took it and scraped it and made it into 220 townhomes, 92 additional townhomes, 32 condos that look like this and ultimately look like that. But we scraped that whole site and made that into a project, 200 or 350 units in about 36 months. Why do we like this location and what do we feel about Trenton? It's the capital, it's the Renaissance, that's what we do. We go into areas that we feel are underserved and bring a lot of things to happen there. The riverfront's great. We want to capitalize on all of the transit that's there. We feel that the Trenton is right for a walkable lifestyle location. And then there's limited housing choices right now, new housing choices for the city and state employees. And we have apartment vacancies that are pretty low, and we feel that there's opportunities. So what was originally, the evolution that occurred was, originally the state had leased 10.4 acres from the city of Trenton on the parking space since 1981. And the city and our company entered into a redevelopment agreement to redevelop the parking lot area, which this is the Trent. Trent House is right here. This is the Youth Justice Complex. Route 1 coming across the river right here. And we all know what that parking lot, I believe everything's that parking lot. We entered into a redevelopment agreement in 2003. State halted our redevelopment opportunities or requests, even though it was fully approved until a parking issue could be resolved because those state employees that wanted to work with youth justice needed to have a place to park. We settled that agreement in 2003, and then there were all sorts of things I'm not going to go through, but we ended up having to go through another agreement in 2011, 2012, where in which it was agreed that we could ultimately, in 2026, develop approximately 240 market rate units, shown here with building a 6-story parking garage, about 80 to 100 market rate townhomes, 140 to 170 apartments in this particular area, and estimated value of project costs of about $50 to $60 million. And that would not occur until a lot of things had to happen, and I'm not going to go into settlement agreement, but your attorney can explain that for you. We will proceed with that agreement in 2026 if there is no modification to this particular agreement, and we're not asking for anything tonight other than to listen and hear what we're talking about. The reasons why we want to revise the plan is the state needs a parking solution after 2026 because they will have to be, for the settlement agreement, they will have to vacate that site for us to develop that property. Secondly is that we would like to accelerate the market rate housing opportunities in the city of Trenton to deliver double the density that was originally proposed, because that's what things have changed in the last 7 years and how people want to live and the style of homes and the style of apartments that they want to live. We think that it supports a 24/7 Trenton downtown Trenton 250. It supports the waterfront and also supports the city director for high-quality downtown neighborhoods. There's a favorable economic climate right now. For those of you who probably still remember as well as I do, is the recession of 2007, 2011 for us was brutal. And the favorable economic conditions right now for something like this to occur. At some point, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when there will be another housing recession. And we want to get something done. We want to get the momentum going now. We think it will show you that it will increase economic gains to the city. It's a catalyst for future development. If you go and visit some of our existing properties, which I would invite you to do, you'll see that we are kind of a big fish that we come into various areas, and a lot of other development occurs around it because of what we come in and bring. And it's also this property is a QOZ zone, which allows for a lot of tax incentives for someone like ourselves to go into it and invest in a property like this. And that has to be done in 2019, otherwise the QOZ does not apply. And we've also said it's consistent with the New Jersey Inspire initiative, which talks about how development market rate housing, and generating, et cetera, places, somehow it's cut off where it talks about surface parking, conversion of surface parking lots, vacant abandoned lots, et cetera, which we will do. As I said, we feel like we're consistent with the 2020 or 2050 Trenton Vision Map, which basically shows that this parcel right here is within the overlay district of the mixed-use development area. We're going to try to go through this quickly because this is what we're proposing to do. I'm not going through what the old plan was. I'm telling you kind of what our revised master plan will do. So this is the existing parking lot, which holds 995 surface parking spots. The state actually parks a few more cars there, we're not counting. But that's what it looks like right now until, we would say until 11/2019, if we were able to have a favorable response from this body and the state. There was some agreement to be able to be worked out amongst the three parties, which is necessary. The first thing that we would do is between the end of this year and May of 2021 would be to build this parking structure, which would be between 1,146 and 1,347 parking spaces on a 6 to 7 story building. And that would actually take a lot of, a portion of the area offline from the state to park, which they have to use other areas to park, but would be limited. We would also be able to provide, during that time period, which is proposed with PSE&G remediation on another site on the other side of the huge justice complex, but having the ability, once the garage was filled, that those spaces, the remaining spaces, could be used for that temporary action that we would be doing. So we would basically, from November 2019 to May of 2021, build the parking garage. We would leave the remainder of the property available for a year while the state and completed the PSE&G remediation. The next phase would be as soon as that was processing and the state was able to vacate a little bit, we would then build phase 2, which would be 2 buildings on what was 83 parking spaces in this particular area, and we would build 130 to 150 market rate units with 50 underground parking spaces. These 2 products that we're showing you here are the products that we've built in other locations. Happy again to show them to you. You'll see a little bit later. But without the amenity spaces in, this will provide 130 to 150 market rate rental units by 2023, as well as with this parking garage and the additional parking that may be necessary for any additional use. After that was completed, we would then propose between June of 2024 and December of 2025, all of our products are about 18-month build cycles to build what we call our Luxor product. It's been built, we'll show you that in a minute. It's 173 units. It's kind of thrown at the hole in the middle with additional 201 underground, underbuilding parking and surface parking areas. So we now have 173 and the other 100 plus units, 150 plus units. So now you're at 303 to 322 market rate units by the year 2025. Again, subject to market conditions and economic conditions, et cetera, which we can't control. Then the final phase would be, we call it the grand finale, so to speak, is when we would take the rest of the parking lot and convert that entirely into additional multifamily units with a big giant hub area, which is our amenity center. Even though there's an amenity center in this building and an amenity center in this building, this is the giant amenity center. And then what we would also have, because we want this to be mixed use, is we would have provisions in this area to be able to put some type of market-driven retail. We have a lot of experience in development, and we have found that retail, you need bodies for retail to survive, and you need retail for bodies to want to go there. So they're kind of coexisting and cohabiting together, but we don't necessarily want to put the retail in there first before, we don't want to fail, is the bottom line. But we would make provisions to make sure that we had that going. So by the end of 2030, we would, which sounds like a long time away, but I've been working on this project since 2003, so that was 16 years ago. This is only 11 years from now. We would project that we would have this giant parking facility that would satisfy the state's needs for the Justice Complex, as well as building 523 to close to 600 market rate units by the end. So Basically, what this revised plan does is twice the density. It allows for 1,400, and basically 1,500 to 1,700 under-building and surface parking areas, 350 surfaces that are dedicated. We would have shared parking in the parking garage, which is a very marine aspect. The state would occupy this between around 8 and 5:30, 8 and 6, Monday through Fridays, and maybe a couple of people on Saturday if they so chose to work there. Our occupants here would be able to have, we have it proposed as a 1/2 parking space per unit, right, with all of this. We want to be able to have more than that. The overflow would be for people that were driving, they'd be able to park here and after hours, so you're really sharing that parking garage in that aspect. We provide recreation and amenity areas, neighborhood retail opportunities we talked about, and more than doubles the investment of Trenton to Trenton, or a master plan of the Trenton House Square property, about $125 to $150 million worth of cost on it. So what does it look like? Well, this is a current view. We got in a little bit of trouble because we had drones out here a few weeks ago. The state police didn't really like that we were flying drones above on the road, but we worked that out. Anyway, that's the drone view of the complex and the existing parking lot. And then we superimposed what the parking lot would look like, and parking lot would look like in the parking structure. We would try to make this match the building that we're going to be building. Our proposal, not necessarily it's going to happen, but we're thinking about this, is to have some type of a large lighted screen on top that can be used for a lot of different aspects. It doesn't have to be there. It's just an idea and a concept. But we would want the garage to look pleasing and not just a big concrete structure. As we talked about, we have phase number 2, which would be the 130, 150 units. This is a product that we built. We'll show it to you shortly. That would be phase 2. Then we would build our Luxor brand over here over by Trent House for phase 3. Phase 4 would be the finishing up of everything in here. And you can see that this is our amenity center. This is all amenities down here. This will service everybody in here. Big giant pool on the top, even though the Luxor also has a pool on the side of it also. That's a full build out when we have the last phase completed. What would it look like? This is actually a building that we just completed in Philadelphia, in the Brewery Town section of Philadelphia. It's our proof of concept. That is a 84-unit building across the street from a 50-unit building. Those are basically synonymous of what we're proposing here. That was done, and I'll show you a little bit more about it. This is what it looks like inside, amenities galore. These are actual photos of our community. That's what it looks like. It lights up. Eagles green, sorry, we're from Philadelphia, so we're Eagles fans. But we have all sorts of amenities, from workouts to common areas to hangout spots, etc. that we would have. This is the Luxor concept, which is the part that we're proposing on the parcel closest to the Trent House. This is proof of concept. This is built in Norristown. We also are building one on City Avenue in Ballackinwood. We have another one proposed in Westchester, one in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, Westchester, Pennsylvania, Lansdale, Pennsylvania, and Malvern, Pennsylvania also. But that's one that we've been proposing. So it's all about the amenities with this too. We have state-of-the-art security. We've had that in both buildings, our dog parks, our BYOB lobby bars, our centralized courtyards, fire pits, game areas, our state-of-the-art fitness centers, business centers, the underground parking, lounges, where packages are delivered, everything you can imagine for the 2020s to 2030 that people want and desire. All these pictures are actual photos taken from our community. None of this is stock photo, they're all actual photos. These are actual people hanging out, millennial based, and it's great. From a standpoint of demographics, why do we want to do this? Well, we're looking at Trenton and where it is, its proximity, and how we can help revitalize the area. Currently, it's projected between 2019 and 2023, the population will actually decrease, unfortunately, from 141 to 139. We think that giving new adequate housing opportunities will be able to promote that from a reduction from going down. But the big key is that there's 25,000 state workers in a Mercer County area that we think by providing a different type of housing opportunity and place to live, that they might want to move into the city because of a lot of reasons. The one important part here is that you're seeing that the millennial age, 25 to 34, is actually increasing, however, albeit very small, but it is increasing even though the population is decreasing. Average household income is increasing, et cetera. All demographics that would work with our proposed target market. What does it mean for the city also in terms of who can benefit from it? Well, there should be a lot of jobs created. So what type of employment jobs would be done? Quickly, and not to go through too much math here, bottom line is that if you take a normal working person who works 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, times by 50 weeks, they get 2 weeks vacation, they work 2,000 hours per year. We're just building the parking garage. We assume that there would be 30 employees, workers that would be working in this garage. To build this, it would take approximately 1 year and a half to build. There would be 90,000 hours that would be created by building the garage. Then we have to maintain this garage and operate it, of which we would estimate, because all these garages are very high tech now, with a lot of automation, et cetera. We have to have at least 3 workers there, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, for 6,000 hours per year, and that escalates each year because we have to operate this on a continual basis. And unfortunately, that doesn't show all the way over here, but I didn't like that sheet. This is 50, I think it's 54,000, I just want to make sure. No, can you turn that? I just want to get that right side of the word together. Oh, you know what, we have to see this on. Right, I just want to make sure that. So when that would be the operation and maintenance. Then we have to create and build all of these products that we have, close to 600 units. And without going through all the math, bottom line is that we would create 780,000 work hours of jobs that would be created just by the construction of this particular project of the building of the residential portion. And then we have to manage those properties. So those things keep escalating, and as each property would come on board, there's additional people that are added because they have to maintain, manage, lease, operate, et cetera, and there'd be another 286,000 hours jobs work throughout the time through 2030, and the grand total is 1.21 million hours of jobs that will be created by this project alone over the next 10 years. So we think that's kind of important. The benefits of this master plan are that it's consistent with Trenton 2050. We would create more market rate housing that captures more high wage earners that have the chance to pay more money and pay more taxes. It doubles the residents to support the downtown local economy that was originally proposed and approved in the previous settlement agreement. More density equals more opportunities to keep revenues in New Jersey. We think that economic gain can come to the city sooner rather than starting in 2026. We require limited municipal services because our communities, we collect our own trash, we dispose of our own trash, we plow our own streets. We do everything that's there. That the city would still do the streets that are owned by the city, but all the things that we're doing, we would handle that all ourselves. It allows growth without displacement. There would be zero displacement of any existing resident in the city of Trenton by developing this property. The only thing we're displacing is cars, and we're moving them from all over the surface parking to a parking garage in certain areas. To kind of correlate that to, we saw some pictures before. This is a property that we're developing in Burlington, and we had went through a recession. But this property is a 13-acre property. We created a very reinvented. When we say affordable, we're not talking about affordable housing. We're talking about houses, market rate housing that people can afford to live, work, and play in a destination. That property is 590 of luxury rentals and for-sale townhomes, work share area, community open space, clubhouse, integrated history of these surrounding communities. There's 144 townhouses were built. We built another 114 rentals there. We also created an opportunity to have an Aldi and a liquor store at the corner. We brought a lot of people, and we have a 50-unit building I showed you, plus the other 201 units that are in construction right now. And so just as a quick aside, let's see if this works. I hope. No. Oops. Let's try again. All right, how do we do this? I have a great flyby. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. Should be. All our technology, we tried so hard. It doesn't work outside, so. One more try, one more. So just, you might not know that. Okay, that's fine. We have a USB for it, or a jump drive I'll give you guys that you can see what this was. But the bottom line is this drone video that shows everything that was built from the shopping center to the apartments here, to the townhouses over here, the additional homes, how it was built, and how fast it's built, and what we've done in the past. So in the end, all we're asking for is the potential for discussion. We don't want any voting. We don't want anything. We'd like to be able to, if there is an interest, to enter into our plan, to discuss this project. It's something that would have to occur from the city, the state, and Bob Ty is here for the state, and I would ask him if he kind of support, or if the state is consistent with what we talked about.
You don't have to. I'll ask this question.
But the bottom line is that the state is on board with trying to do this because that was the originally intended plan. They would like to do it a little bit earlier, and this is the preferred site at this particular time. If it doesn't work, we will just wait until 2026 and nothing ventured, nothing gained. But we would invite anyone of council to be able to go visit our products that we did in Philadelphia. I know for Sunshine Laws, we can only take a certain number of people at a certain time. It's something that we've done numerous times in other communities that we've developed. And then we would ultimately work with the city's solicitor, the city's attorney, the state's attorney, and our attorneys to try to culminate some type of agreement that would occur if, again, there was a desire to do something. And that's really the proposal and presentation. So thank you very much for your time.
Councilwoman Wilson, I just have a couple of questions. Could you tell me more about the multi-family buildings that you're building?
Yes. When you say what would you like to know?
Well, is there affordable housing in there? Is there, how many?
There is not an affordable component. They're all market rate. I'll use that one because that's easy to find. They're all market rate, 4-story over podium. They can go to 5-story over podium. Our target market is millennials predominantly. They are smaller units with a ton of common areas, which is what is desired today from a millennial buyer. Our price ranges typically are in the, at least in the Philadelphia area, we are in the low 1,000, 1,100 to 1,200 to that for a studio / one bedroom, up to 1,700 for a 2-bedroom.
And the Trent House. So the Trent House is one of our historic buildings. Will they continue to have their parking, designated parking? I mean,
we would work through that. We've shown it here that we have areas that are left for that, but this plan is still in juxtaposition of something that we would, it's not finalized. But the answer to the question is, it's important for us to make sure that there's parking for Trent House.
people need to have access to it because they do have a lot of,
We would like to energize the Trent House.
yeah. And it's already energized, so it's getting, the crowds are getting bigger every year that are coming there. So, I certainly wouldn't want it to be a problem for people getting there because of lack of parking.
We would take that into consideration. The best part about it is we have this giant parking lot we can use, but not during the daytime because, not because the state would be using it, but when our residents, we don't want our residents parking here as much. We'd like them to be able to park in there and also under the buildings in our
Yeah,
specific.
but unfortunately, you're not going to be able to control that. I don't think.
Well, we would designate specified parking for tenants.
Oh,
There would, and I'm sorry if I didn't clarify that, there would be specifically designated parking for the public for Trent House.
okay. All right, that's fine.
President Wright.
Councilman?
Thank you. So this is very exciting to hear about. Those many years ago, 50 years years ago, 60 years ago, those parking lots were erected where they are now. And it's been an absolute burden on the city of Trenton because, parking, you can't live in parking spots. They're taking up valuable real estate for the city. And the parking lots actually replace a thriving neighborhood. And so I am so excited to hear about this, and I am excited about visiting. I'm actually a millennial. I work at the building at the upper left-hand corner, and so it seems like it would be a wonderful place to attract millennials and young people to move to the city of Trenton. One thing I'm glad to hear about is the fact that it doesn't displace anybody, and so the concerns around gentrification are not really applicable to this particular plan because it's not displacing anybody. And I'm so heartened that they're market rate because Trenton has the burden of this region's affordable housing, and I am just floored and very happy that there's plans to bring market rate housing where we can attract a middle class and young people who hopefully will cash down their buckets here in the city of Trenton and stay for longer. So I'm so excited. I'm sure I'll have questions over the next few years, but I think that this is a game changer, and we should be attempting to do this with all of the places, the parking spots that surround this area, because our most valuable land is filled with parking lots. And that's not necessarily a good thing for Trenton's rebirth. And I think we could attract a lot of people who work on the Route 1 corridor. We have lots of pharma companies where people are living in Philadelphia, living in New York, because they feel that there's not competitive housing in this region. And so we could have waterfront property for rentals for folks of my age cohort. That would go a long way for making Trenton a attractive place for people with disposable income, which is something I'm very much interested in. So keep up the good work, and I'm here to be helpful as much as I can.
And the other part, you hit the nail on the head about working both in New York. If you watch what New York prices are and even Philadelphia prices for rentals right now, they're skyrocketing. And the best part about this is that we're so close to transit in all aspects that people can go to New York and to Philadelphia in an easy way based upon where they are in Trenton.
Absolutely. That's something that, it's common sense. We have empty buildings, empty parking lots that have not been used for, they're not used after 5 o'clock or on the weekends, that just take up space. And so that was one thing, I know when the Justice Complex was being built, and Kingsbury was being built, Kingsbury was supposed to be somewhat similar to this. And, the design of Kingsbury served as an inhibitor to attract, middle-class folks from living there. And so to have, these beautiful state-of-the-art buildings close to downtown, close to transit, it's just a game changer. And I really, really hope that my colleagues look upon this favorably and give you all the space necessary to do what you do. And it's not every day that we have a track record, someone with a track record of success, someone with experience in these types of developments. And so I'm very, very, very excited. In fact, I want to ask a few questions about your business. So can you tell me how long your development company has been in existence?
30 plus years, 32 years.
Okay, can you tell me other places besides this region that you have developed in?
I have to go back too far on the slides, but I can say that we've developed over 100 properties in the Pennsylvania and New Jersey region. Again, Bucks, Montgomery, Chester, Delaware, Philadelphia, Mercer counties, and down the beach. I will tell you right now, we have 800 units under construction right now in 4 different counties. So it's what we do.
Okay. Well, thank you. I hope you have an opportunity to do it here in Trenton so that we can make this place attractive for people like me. Thank you.
Hi, Councilman. Thank you, Madam President. Hi. very ambitious. I worked in New York City for many, many years, over 30 years, downtown in the financial district, World Trade Center to be exact. And so I had an opportunity to live in Jersey City, and I saw that get revitalized. Also Hoboken, saw that get revitalized. I went undergrad in New Brunswick, saw that city go through a revitalization. And if I just can use those sort of geographic measures, and I look at your development, your model, I see it to be very linear, one-dimensional compared to other cities that I just mentioned, right? I would have hoped that we would have talked, that I would have seen more of sort of a contained community model. Even here in the city of Trenton, we have one of the premier, top liberal arts colleges, College of New Jersey, and they did some development there. And their model focused on mixed use. So you have office space, residential space, retail space, entertainment space, right, restaurants, etc. So if you're going to attract the millennial population, these are the amenities they would want to see. Or even not even, millennials, because if you go to Jersey City and Hoboken and even New Brunswick now, you'll see even the College of New Jersey campus. I go there. They have a bookstore there. They have the various top tier restaurants, blah blah blah, etc. So I just kind of want to understand what your firm's appetite is to kind of incorporate sort of these futuristic approaches to community development.
So to answer that question is that right now we see that there are a lot of, the biggest thing that we have is taking up the bulk of this property is if you look at, if I go back a few slides, you can see that this plan shows that of the, I call it the triangle piece, the largest portion is the parking garage, and it takes up, if you think about a triangle, the base of the triangle, the widest area. And we want to be able to permit or to provide for some type of retail here, because we know we have 1,200 people that would be entering here every day, and we need some type of, we call it neighborhood retail. We also then would look at, from a land planning standpoint, to say, well, because of that big building, we're limited in what else we can do on that site, and we also feel how proximity to the downtown, so to speak, in Trenton, where we would hope that this would help revitalize that particular portion, as well as when ultimately these other parking lots we hope to see developed, and we feel this will be a catalyst. They have a much bigger footprint where they could do a lot more. We're kind of stuck with the parking area in that particular spot. Our focus is really to get the residential, get the people here that would then energize the ability to have additional things occur within downtown, or also, we're developers and planners, so we have big visions. We see this area, where all the parking areas are, to ultimately be a fabulous town center, doing a lot of what you would want, and I think that they can rise in terms of height and be a little bit higher. We're the first people, and sometimes you go big, and you think they're so big that you fail. We don't want to be so big that we fail. So, could we add another story on things? We can certainly add, we do 4-story wood over top of the podium. We could go to 5. I didn't want to scare everybody, because as you're thinking big, I don't want to scare everybody to say that it's so big that we're crazy and that we shouldn't be talking about it. So those are all parts of the concepts that if the council would embrace, kind of discussions about this, we can get in and talk about. I would have to say that from an economic standpoint and financing standpoint, it's really important that we know that people will go here. Retail is very hard to get into areas where there's not a lot of people at a certain time. Does that make sense? So we're hoping that by us energizing that, we'll leave areas for, as we said, market-driven retail to occur, and we'd love to put them in there because they're actually more valuable to the community and to us as developers than it's residential or parking. But we also have to build it. So we're on the same page.
Because one thing that I would hate to see happen, which has happened in my ward, in the West Ward, is that we have residents, we have residents that we have the highest rate of home ownership in the West Ward, highest level of disposable income, highest percentage of employment, citizens who are employed, and what happens is that we live there, but all of our disposable income leaves our ward and leaves our community, our city, and it goes spent elsewhere, where there are, top tier retail, whether it be Princeton, whether it be, New York, Philadelphia, whatever that is, right? Brunswick, a lot of folks are there, in restaurants. And if we're just only talking about building houses, I'm just thinking that, we have a few more years, and as you said, a lot of conversations to be had, and I would just hope that some of these ideas would be considered and kind of incorporated into the overall strategy of your development plan here.
And I think that one of the things that you have to look at is that this would be the start of something. This is, if I'm able to take you to folks to Brewery Town, I can take you back 10 years or 7 years before we started, and we built 500 homes as our company, or 500 apartments. There has been a multitude of other investments going on, and this Girard Avenue corridor that was dead, 10 years ago, is thriving now. And there's a reason, because all of it's people are coming into the area because they're seeing value, and they're saying, this is a great place to live. It's close proximity to the city. It's close proximity to where I work. It's close proximity to access to rail, to roads, to highways, everything. And it just moves out in amoebas. It just kind of floats out, and everybody starts to see all those rise and tides.
So you talked about the millennial population, but also what about the empty nester population? Because they have a lot of disposable income. And they downsize, and a lot of them, the pattern that we're seeing across the country is that a lot of folks are, selling their, big mansions in the suburbs and downsizing and taking those profits or proceeds to come back into the city and perhaps looking for housing as you just presented here. So you talk about, attracting millennials, but, there's a lot of disposable income around the, adult population that's retired. Retirement does not mean, doesn't mean anymore, 70, 80 years old, right? A lot of folks are retired in their 50s and 60s and looking to come into the city to have access, maybe walk to a coffee shop, walk to, their cleaners, walk to the movie theater, etc. Stay out of their cars, right?
We agree with you. And the point about a master plan or something such as what we're proposing doesn't mean that it's etched in stone. And the plan that we all agreed on between the city, the state, and us in 2012 is now different than what it was in 2012. Because things change. And what we want to do is we want to look at massing and how things would go in that respect. But we have experience in building 55 plus housing. We've done thousands of units of 55 plus housing. We also do independent assisted memory care. We've got 3 sites going on right now that's about 500 units worth of that. So we have such a breadth of knowledge of all the aspects of every one of these. The only thing we don't do anymore is for sale housing. We don't do for sale housing. We always build this in the recession. We get through it. And we do all market rate, whether it's rental or rental for seniors or for millennials. Those 2 big bubbles are big bubbles. And there is a huge amount of people that want to be there. And what we're also finding is in projects that were designed for millennials, there's a lot of empty nesters that still think they're millennials. And they want to live with the young people and make them feel young. And when I was younger, people didn't necessarily want to hang with their parents or the older people. For some reason, millennials like to hang with us. I don't know what it is, but they do.
So my last question is, maybe I missed it, but what is the ratio of housing that's rentals versus buying, purchasing? Are there No condo, no,
Again, at this particular time, in this particular marketplace, and from a financing standpoint, I can tell you that a company like ours, we can finance multifamily all day long. To do a condo project where you have to put all your money in and then invest it, and the only way you can pay the bank back is by selling it, and then all of a sudden there's a downturn, and it crashes, and, you know, the foreclosure signs go up and everything else. You know, that
well, I
doesn't.
will say, in New Brunswick, they have mixed, right? In Hoboken, they have mixed. You have an opportunity to buy or in Jersey City, they have mixed. It's something to consider.
And I think that what we're saying is this would be a catalyst, I think that should occur, it just might not occur on this particular site, that's all.
Okay,
Well, we can talk about it, this is all concepts.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
You mentioned jobs, very concerned about jobs. Usually when we get developers, they come here or they bring their own workers from the union from outside. Since you are going to start building now, probably now, will you consider having like an OJT program where you could recruit our young men and women from Trenton, a few of them, so that by the time you come up to the big construction project, you have the secure carpenters, bricklayers already from Trenton, local.
So we've done that in the past, and we're certainly open to encouraging that process and being involved in it. I will tell you from our experience, and again, 30 years worth of experience, and a lot of times, is there's not usually enough people that get the job, that want the jobs, or are capable of doing the jobs, than what we have, our aspirations are. But we're amenable and willing to work with the city to try to promote job creation from within the city. We've done different places that we literally attract where the jobs are coming from. And you know, it all depends on the level of experience. We're not in a position as a company to go and train everyone, but if there are people that are trained, whether it's vocational schools or other areas or whatever it might be, and they are from Trenton, we welcome them. They have priority over someone outside of the city.
Yeah, I wish you contact our high school and push for them to have these vocational programs, because I'm having problems with them there. They are not considering like electricity, plumbing, carpentry, high-paid jobs. That's why when these developers come in, they say, oh, we don't have the skill labor. Although that's what we need here. But it will be good if you consider hiring those people from here, young people, high school graduates, to go with you to Pennsylvania to start working now, so that when the time comes. Also, what would be your percentage of local workers?
I don't know what the percentage would be. It's a discussion item, and our company would encourage the use of local workers, and that would be something that we would present and promote. But in the construction industry, again, who knows what's going to happen by the time we would be building something. But right now, it is very hard to find labor. Okay, labor is at a premium to find skilled labor. And it's as you pointedly or correctly stated, is that the kids say they don't want to swing hammers, they don't want to be electricians. I should say not everybody, but a lot of them don't want to be, and they really should, because there's high-paying jobs out there.
That's what they need, because they don't know how much money.
They don't know how much money they can make.
That's the point. I remember when they construction of the Justice Complex, they offered me a job there. I was working for a factory here. It was through a union. And they were going to get me in, but I'm afraid of heights. I worked on the first and second floor, and we had to jump to something that I quit. But it would be good if you could help the city training. We have all the areas that need development here, right?
We would like to be involved in that type of approach. And there are plenty of hours, for the 1.2 million hours that were created. I'm sure that there are jobs that we could help funnel in to be created for that particular purpose.
Yeah, I have just one more trades on your jobs?
We are an open shop company. We do use unions in certain areas, and we do other areas that we don't use unions. When I say other areas, for example, in Philadelphia, it's a mixed shop. It's between union and non-union.
Well, I don't believe Pennsylvania, they don't have a prevailing wage.
They do have prevailing wages, yeah, certainly. There's
Um,
no subsidies.
The reason I said that was that the building trades in Mercer County have tried, and sometimes a little successfully, but not really with a lot of resistance, because what they can do is if they're on the job, they can, and we have they can do a pre-apprenticeship program, where they can, local people that don't have any skills, they can actually be responsible for them and train them on the job. And I think they would be willing to sit down and discuss something like that, which I think is really critical for our skilled labor force in the city of Trenton. Something as big as this, I think it would benefit everybody.
We're open for discussion. We also have to look at cost structures and timing and everything else. So we have lots of experience with working with the trades.
So Assemblyman Wendy Angela would probably love to have a conversation with you because we worked on the project before. Thank you. Thank you.
President, I have a question. This is for our law director. I just want to clarify for the record, and, I'm new here, so I want to be clear. If for this council to, I would say, well, is it legal? Do we have an obligation, legal obligation, to tell a private developer what type of labor they can use on a non-city project? I just want to ask, because I don't know. Well, I'm asking a question. It has nothing to do with you.
I mean, it's not a complicated question, but when you deal with redevelopment agreements, it's open for,
You don't have to look at me. You can talk right into the mic.
no, when you're dealing with redevelopment agreements, it's open for negotiation. So do you have a legal right? You can negotiate anything.
Look, I'm asking. That's why I asked. I just wanted to be clear.
It's not a problem.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
So in closing real quickly, as I'd like to be able to offer the council, if there's a desire to visit one of the sites in Philadelphia, that I'll send it, I don't know, to the clerk or whoever might be available dates, and we're happy to, we've done it in the past with numerous other communities where we send a bus come over, pick people up and whatever, I know the sunshine laws, et cetera, so I just want to have that offer out.
It would be the clerk.
We'll send it to Mr. Hammond. Thank you so much.
Mr. Harris?
Let me give, restricted this, that's a common presentation.
So we continue with the agenda. Let's go to the agenda is the document review.
For Mr. Harris, I have something that I would like to walk onto the docket. The ordinance that I asked on to my colleagues. The title of that ordinance is Ordinance Amending Chapter A316-2, Rules of Procedure of the Code of the City of Trenton. This is an ordinance that would revoke the previously approved rules of procedure that were approved a few months ago. And so I'd like to bring it to the floor. If I can get a second.
Mr. Harris, would you please explain to the council and the board that that ordinance has been voted on and it came up to be voted down and it was not passed, and so we must wait for a year to bring it back?
Right, can you tell me the date?
Excuse me, I'm talking to the clerk, will give you that information.
So that is correct what Council President is stating.
Correct. So I would like a legal opinion about this, because the fact of the matter is, if I introduce an ordinance and it's properly seconded, an ordinance cannot override my ability to add a ordinance to the document. And so that's what I'm actually asking you to do. I think I have a second on the floor, and so you're telling me that I have the ability to introduce an ordinance that I see fit that is properly seconded?
I'm telling you that you voted the ordinance down and it was not passed
When was it
by
voted
this
down?
council. It was voted down, approximately 2 weeks after, 2 weeks after it was implemented. And so, based on the ordinance itself, you must wait a year before you bring it back to the floor. And that's what I'm telling you. I'm not making it up. It's in the rules. If you read them, you would know that. And that is all I'm doing, is telling you that you have to wait a year before you bring it back to the floor.
Can I have some guidance from, well, Mr. Harris, I spoke to Mr. Harris about this, and if this was the case, Mr. Harris had an opportunity to tell me about this, which he did not. I tried to place it on the docket a few days ago, and he slow walked it. And so now to have him say this while I am attempting to have it on the floor, it is problematic in the least and extraordinarily troubling at the very best. And so can I have an opinion from a real attorney, which Mr. Harris is not?
Mr. Bridges?
Having been presented this for the first time here, I'm happy to give a legal opinion. I'm not going to do that here today. I think any opinion I'll give you will require me to do some research as well as give you a work product document to become a attorney.
So
But I'm happy to give you that opinion. Can I sit here today and give you the definitive answer? I cannot do that.
So before, we don't have a definitive legal opinion, and so I am asking for this to be placed on the docket. The fact of the matter is, Councilwoman McBride, to my last recollection, is not an attorney, and neither is Mr. Harris. And so, with that said, I have a motion on the floor, and I would really encourage a second.
Just a point of clarification, was this brought up again?
Yes, it was.
No, it was not.
Yes,
Wait,
it was.
wait.
It was.
That's really the issue. That's why I can't answer the question.
Yes.
I don't have that information.
Yes, we could give you the date. I don't have the date right in front of me.
So my motion is on the floor. I'm asking for a second.
Excuse me, you asked a question, and I'm going to answer to the best of my ability. We passed this ordinance, and 2 weeks after we passed it, Mrs. Vaughn, yourself, and Mr. Santiago came and put a motion on the floor to vote the ordinance down. You failed in your attempt, and so by the rules of the ordinance, you can only bring it back a year after it fails. And so we could go and pull the tapes up for you for that meeting to prove to you that you did try to vote it down and failed in your attempt to. And now the ordinance clearly states that you have to wait a year. And that's all I'm saying. Bring it up if you like, but you have to wait a year to bring it back. And that's what this ordinance says.
So
my
my concern is that that particular line is a blatant encroachment on my ability to introduce any legislation as I see fit. I am actually introducing on the floor this resolution.
Is that the same one that you previously?
I never did. No, it's not. It's not the one that I did. I did not introduce.
It's the one that was introduced and passed, and it was the same ordinance that they voted.
We don't have a date. We don't have a date. So this is conjecture until we actually have the date. My fact of the matter is, this is precisely the reason why I am asking for this ordinance.
And that is precisely the reason that there is an ordinance in place.
Can we have both of the ordinance?
So the issue, as I see it,
Well, I don't care how you say it. I'm asking the attorney.
Excuse me, you won't be so rude, let the man speak.
is that the council has the ability to make their own rules for their procedures. Okay? So the council can set an ordinance, and if the council deems so fit, they can change their ordinance. So Mr. Blakely is presenting an ordinance for the body to consider to adjust. But there is an ordinance in place that prevents them from considering the ordinance. But the council makes their own rules. So if the body says we will consider this, then they can consider it. If the body says no, we won't consider this, then they are not obligated to consider this.
Thank you so much. So according to what you just said, thank you. There's a proper motion on the floor. It's been seconded. We need to vote.
That's why I said that we should pull the ordinance. According to
No.
according to what the clerk just said, then this ordinance gets considered because it's a different ordinance. So is it the same ordinance?
It's the same ordinance.
It's the same. So if it's the same ordinance, it's a different question.
Not the same council question.
It's the same
Different
ordinance.
council person has introduced it. We have a motion on the floor, it's been properly seconded, it needs to go for a vote.
Can we table this until we
We'll turn up the
ordinance issue legally? I'm sorry. Can we table this until we're able to pull the ordinance, pull the original ordinance and issue a legal opinion?
No. It is, we have a properly moved motion on the floor. We have a second on the floor. This is an opportunity to delay and obstruct. I have
Well,
ordered
this
this.
was the attorney, he asked for an attorney's opinion, and when you give it, he still doesn't want to accept it.
He has a request, he's requesting us to do
Wait.
something, and I'm saying no. There is a motion on the floor and it's been properly seconded. Please, can we have a roll call?
Council President serves as the director of this meeting, so the Council President is the one that.
She cannot usurp my ability to introduce an ordinance. It's been moved and properly seconded. You can check out Robert rules. Once a motion is on.
Robert Rules is not the law, okay?
So you
The
are-
Faulkner Act is. And so when you start understanding that, you could serve and be a better council person, but being blatantly disrespectful is just not the answer.
We have a motion on the floor and it's been properly seconded. All I'm asking is for my motion to be
And
considered.
The issue is that whether it's been properly said.
No, it has been seconded.
It hasn't been, if it's already been introduced, and if it's the exact same ordinance already rolled out, and yeah, you have to wait again. But if it's something different, like the city clerk said, then that's a different story.
But
And so what I'm saying is that,
It's the same ordinance.
could we just at least pull the ordinance so we can issue?
no.
I say that
That's what,
you can.
That's
do
very
it
self-evident.
and do the research. And if you find that, it can be brought to the floor, then we'll bring it to the floor. If you find that it can't be brought to the floor, then we won't bring it to the
If
floor.
I may bring some clarity
We'll
to
let
it as
the-
well, even if you put it to a vote now, if it's considered ultra virus of the ordinance is already in place, it's going to be of no effect. The best way to do it is to compare factual elements as to looking at the prior ordinance, seeing if it's the same ordinance, if it failed, and then comparing it to the letter of this ordinance.
So let me ask you a question.
Even if you try to pass it now and it's passed, and it is violative of that ordinance, it's null and void, so no effect.
So let me ask you a question. If I added a section that reduced the council president's term to 1 year, then it would be a different ordinance. So I would like to add an amendment to my ordinance that states that the council president's term will be 1 year. Then it will be a totally different ordinance from what she stated it is. And so if you want to play that game, I'm ready to play.
Well,
And so,
it's no game to be played.
No, it is.
That is not what you have here on the floor.
so I am adding
And
an
so-
ordinance, I'm adding an amendment for a motion.
What I'm going to do, I know we have a lot of people here that want to speak to.
You have a motion on the floor, you cannot do that.
What we're going to do is, I'm going to give Mr. Harris the time to pull up the original ordinance. We should do things properly. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you, but I believe things should be done in a proper manner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break for 15 minutes. I'm going to give Mr. Harris a time to pull up the original ordinance, and then we'll take it from there. And I think that's fair for everyone.
Fair enough.
All right, so Mr. Harris, I want to call a 15-minute break and give you the opportunity to pull up the original ordinance, if you could.
This council in recess.
At this time, Mr. Blakely has withdrawn his motion. So we're going to move on with the agenda. And ladies and gentlemen, do not be discouraged. This is what happens at council meetings. You're going to have some back and forth, and you're going to try to determine where you stand at. This is normal. It doesn't happen every council meeting, but you'll run into this from time to time. And Mr. Blakely and I, we get along just fine. This is just part of the process. So don't be offended. I don't want anybody to be offended by what you do today. This is just part of the process. Thank you. Mr. Harris.
Continue with the docket review for Thursday, April 16th, 2019. The minutes that are going to be presented for the governing body's approval is the regular meeting for March 7th, 2019, the conference session for March 19th, 2019, and the regular meeting from March 21st, 2019. There are 43 items of communications presented for your acceptance, 0 petitions, and 1 report from the city clerk's office submitted the monthly revenue for the month of March 2019 from funds collected by the office staff totaling $47,350.30. I am happy to report that this collection rate is 349% higher than it was last year at this time. Ordinance being presented for second reading and public hearing. Ordinance number 19-25, which is an ordinance establishing the code of ethics for officials, professionals, and employees for the city of Trenton. Ordinance number 19-27, which is an ordinance authorizing the sale of property known as the Cook School Property KCG Development and authorizing the execution of a purchase agreement and sale agreement in connection therewith.
Excuse me, Mr. Harris. Councilwoman Vaughn wants to ask a question.
Yes, regarding ordinance 1927, we had asked for some additional information pertaining to the pay-to-play disclosure agreement, and it looks like the firm KCG Development did submit it late this afternoon. I believe all council members received it. The only concern that I had, because I planned to table it until it came through, but it doesn't look complete to me. I can get some input from the law department as to verify or validate that this is the proper or the appropriate pay-to-play disclosure form?
They are the appropriate pay-to-play disclosure form. If you look on the last page, there's also a certification to notarize using the applicable language called for the statute.
Okay. So, but this seal, this is a copy, we don't have the raised seal here.
We do not have a raised seal. We can request a raised seal, but quite frankly, I don't know if they use raised seals anymore, but stamped today, appears to be valid under the commission to the extent
Yeah, that would be the original version, yes.
Yeah, it was the original version that's done today, so
But see, the copy of the raised seal is not gonna.
it's a notary seal.
But notaries are not required by law to have a raised seal as long as they have a stamp with their information on it.
Okay. All right, then we can proceed to, I will not request the table. The document has been submitted. The law department has verified that it is it's appropriate, it meets the requirement, so we can move forward, Madam President.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Mr. Harris, if you continue.
Being presented as far as resolution number 19-26 is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 to the contract with Sovereign Consulting Incorporated to provide for additional environmental investigation and remedial action plan at the Roebling Block 2 site. The amount of that change order is $15,366. Resolution 19-97 is a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for 2018 recycling tonnage grant with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Resolution 19-98 is a resolution authorizing a contract with BMG Group for roof repairs at the solid waste management facility on Calhoun Street in conjunction with the County of Mercer Cooperative Contract Purchasing System Agreement in an amount not to exceed $266,785.94.
Yes, Councilman Santiago?
I have a question on this resolution. Have this company been making any other contacts with the city? Any other construction here? Any other? I'm asking because I didn't get the attachments to my email on this. I didn't get any information on these contracts or anything. Or can we get it Thursday? So I don't have anything on this. I don't have any information. The attachments were not included this time.
What is his question?
He said that there was no attached documentation for this resolution. And we wanted to look at the supporting documents.
19-98.
Do you have enough time, Councilman Santiago, between now and Thursday?
6, if I get a copy.
I don't understand what you said. There was no copy because all these documents get scanned and sent to all the council members.
But in the email, wasn't the attachment were included for this time. I expected this afternoon.
So can we get Councilman Santiago and Councilman Manuel a copy of the supporting documentation? 19-9, right?
Any other contracts or stuff? There was no attachment in my email at all.
And we will sure they have it tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Could you continue?
Resolution 19-128 is a resolution approving the substantial amendment to the annual action plan for fiscal year 2018, beginning July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019, in accordance with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant Program. Resolution 19-141 is a resolution awarding a contract to the Fair and Open Process to Triad Associates for professional consulting services for housing consultant to administer rehabilitation programs funded by U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Block Grant Program in an amount not to exceed $148,090.
Mr. Harris, may I ask a question? My question is to the person that spoke to 19-141, I think it's Mrs. G, on, business administrator. I went back to look up, Mr. Cruz, I went back to look up the paperwork for the rehab program, and I had the file, and the file has 44 houses that they completed from 2012 to 2018. And so I believe over the course of 7 years, they did 44 houses. Now, the original monies for that project was $6 million that was completely for this project, $6 million from the RCA funds. So what I wanted to know, if you took the 44 houses over the course of 7 years, and you broke those that number down, and now you're bringing on a consultant, and you're giving them $148,000 for 1 year, I'm trying to determine how many houses is this consultant going to be able to push through? Because from 2012 to 2018, we only did 44 houses. How many houses are we going to be able to get out of this $148,000 that you're giving to the consultant? Because I already expressed my concern, because I believe that we should have been hiring 3 inspectors for that price. So I need to know how many houses are we going to get done for the $148,000 for 1 year.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
The contract would be for 18 to 20 units. It really depends on what the level of rehab the houses need. Like some people only may need just a roof, and might come in less than 25,000. They might have a problem with their water system, and it might come in less. So if they get, the contract with RFP is between 15 and 20.
Okay, so that number, okay, because I'm looking at the fact that you only had 44 houses done over the course of 7 years, and I never did get the balance of what was left out of that $6 million from the RCA funding. So if you guys, before Thursday, could get me the balance of the RCA funding, I would appreciate that.
Okay.
And so 19, we're looking at between 18 and 20 houses. For that 148,000, I think that's a good buy, but I still don't agree with the fact that we're not hiring permanent help for that $148,000. But I do understand if it took 7 years just to do 44 houses, we need to push that, because we have a lot of seniors that has been on that waiting list trying to get their homes repaired. So I'm in agreement for the 18 to 20, and I need to know how much money is left over the RCA funding.
I have to do some research. This is definitely before my time, but I can run an evidence report to see.
Okay.
Just keep in mind that the scope of work that was done prior to the program being changed in 2014 to include CDBG dollars to help supplement the RCA funds, which ran a lot differently than the program that we're running today.
Right, but I was trying to figure out if the RCA funding had $6 million and the highest amount that you could go to was $80,000. That was the maximum on the grant. And so anything under $80,000. So I'm just trying to figure out how much of that RCA money was used. And I think that the city and the business administration want to know those numbers too. So if we could try to do some research and get a count on that. All right, thanks a lot, I appreciate that. Yes, go right ahead, Councilman Santiago.
We postpone this decision until we get that information. I don't believe that we're going to be able to get it from now until Thursday. And this is a serious matter. We're talking about millions of dollars.
Well, I'm satisfied with the number that she gave me with the 18 to 20 houses. Because if you look at going back, we had $6 million and I don't know how much of that is left, but we only were able to complete 44 houses in a 7-year span. So if they're going to complete 18, just say the bottom number is 18. So if they're going to complete 18 houses in 12 months, I think that's a big leap forward based on the fact that we only did 44 over 7 years.
And I just wanted to add that the Mercer County runs a similar project, well actually the same project, funded homeowner rehab programs with CDBG dollars, and they average 5 a year. They think that we're insane for taking on 18, but we, with the help of our consultant and them providing us essentially with 3 to 5 employees to work on this, we're able to do more. But the county runs the CDBG funded program, we do 5 houses a year.
That's why I said 44 versus then going with 18. So as long as I get those numbers back for the remainder of the RCA money, I'm good.
Director Cruz said it's 1.3 million left in RCA funds.
Okay. 1.3?
1.1, I'm sorry.
1.1, okay. That was quick. Thank you. Mr. Coucil, continue.
Resolution 19-143 is a resolution requesting that the New Jersey Department of Transportation open Route 29 tunnel to truck traffic. Resolution 19-159 is a resolution adopting fiscal year 2019 municipal budget.
Madam President,
Yes, go ahead, Councilman Santiago.
if this gonna be including the amount that they say 11 cents that they told us that we have to, it's gonna be including the 11 cents. So we have,
We would have to ask someone from the administration to tell us where we are with this. Right. There's a, Mr. Cruz, if you could just explain this resolution adopting the fiscal year, because we don't have a budget to adopt. We never heard back from DCA. My colleague wants to know exactly why is this still on the docket.
Yes, so Madam President, a few days ago, we finally heard back from DCA. Today is Tuesday. I believe it was yesterday. We had the Friday. Unfortunately, they had emailed Joan, our budget officer, and she was out on Friday. The communication came that the director had approved amendment number 2 as requested by DCA to increase or change the amendment that was done by this body for 5 cents and move it back to the 11 cents that DCA had recommended. So that is what the Department of Community Affairs is expecting that this council adopts on Thursday.
Okay, so this resolution 19-159 is asking us to say yea or nay to 11 cents. Is that what this is?
This resolution is in conjunction with Resolution 19-171, which is the resolution that Mr. Cruz is referring to as far as the amendments to the budget. If you choose to pass Resolution 19-171, then Resolution 19-159 is the adoption of the fiscal 2019 municipal budget. So 171 has to occur prior to 159, both at the discretion of the governing body.
Mr. Santiago, would you finish your,
yes, I ask that this resolution is voted separately.
It will be.
And also the other one, the 171.
now, Mr. Harris, some more clarity on those two. Are those the two that have to be supermajority? 159 and 171? Does that mean that it's supermajority? No, it's not appropriation, it's just the budget.
That's correct.
So you're saying that the actual budget amendment, the appropriations need a supermajority, but the actual budget doesn't?
No, the appropriate, 171 is not an appropriation.
I know that, but on the appropriations, you told us that we needed, Arch told us that we needed a supermajority. So I'm saying appropriations is one thing, but this is the amendment, this is to actually pass the amendment for the entire budget. So if you need a majority for the appropriations, should you need a majority for the actual budget?
And you do not, and that's one of those idiosyncrasies in New Jersey law.
Okay. All right, just trying to be clear. I'm just trying to be clear.
I believe the supermajority is only for the emergency. I'll have to go back.
I'm just trying to be clear.
I understand.
Okay, we're moving forward. Mr. Harris. Did you have something that you want to say?
Yeah, we have some discussions going on because we believe that yes, that it will need the supermajority. but, yeah, the amendment. But, we're gonna have to provide that to the council in the next day, so. To make that more clear.
Right, I just wanted some clarity because it makes no sense to me if you had to have a supermajority to appropriate, and now we're getting ready to either pass or.
Yeah, the amendment may need a supermajority,
But the regular budget
majority.
doesn't, just the majority? Okay, all righty, thanks for that clarity. Mr. Harris, you can.
Resolution 19-160 is a resolution authorizing the public sale of wine and beer only at a fundraising reception being held by the Trenton House Museum located at 15 Market Street. Resolution 19-161 is a resolution authorizing the public sale of wine only at a fundraising event being held by the Trenton City Museum located at 229 Forsyth Avenue. Resolution 19-162 is a resolution authorizing the public sale of wine and distilled beverages only at a music fundraising event being held by the Trenton Museum Society located at 229 Forsyth Avenue. Resolution 19-163 is a resolution authorizing assignment of tax sale certificate pursuant to NJSA 54:5-113 to Edwin Solomon, the address located at 466 Walnut Avenue. Resolution 19-164 is a resolution authorizing the assignment of tax sale certificate, again pursuant to NJSA 54:5-113, 113, I'm sorry, to Felix J. Wisniewski IV at 818 South Clinton Avenue. Resolution 19-165 is a resolution rejecting proposals received for legal services, public defender for the City of Trenton, Department of Administration, Division of Public Defender's Office. Resolution 19-166 is a resolution authorizing a contract for fair and open process to C.D. Smith for lead ACO compliance, corrosion control, lead line service replacement program, and public education for the City of Trenton in an amount not to exceed $931,739.
Mr. Harris, Councilman Santiago, want to speak to this? This is for the lead replacement lines.
I just want to ask that it be voted separately. Roll call of that. And also, I have a question on 19-165 to put it to the council. If anybody can explain that.
What is your question, Councilman?
165 says resolution rejecting proposal received for legal services.
And what is your question?
What was the
But the reason why it was being rejected. So apparently these bids, these RFPs were procured sometime in April of last year. And I guess because the change in government, the former administration did not move on it. The new administration came on board. The packages apparently were misplaced somewhere. They were refound late last year, and we felt that it was actually best if we just went out to bid again because they had just been sitting for way too long, and at this point it doesn't make sense to award something that is that old.
There are no legal implications in that.
There isn't, correct? Yes.
Mr. Cruz?
Yes.
I want to talk to the lead replacement lines, because what I want to ask the administration for is I want a complete list of all the Trentonians that is on this list. I was told that the Trentonians did not come out to sign up for this lead line replacement, and I'm just not satisfied with that because I have a couple of my neighbors that I went to after I was told that Trenton residents did not come out or show up to sign a form to get their lead lines replaced, knowing that it was $1,000, and if they did it on their own, it would be $5,000 or more. I had a problem with that because I do know that when Trenton residents received that advisory, that they had a book advisory, the Trentonians were upset because the township had received their notice before they did. After they received their notice, then Trenton received theirs. Then Trenton was in a panic mode because they didn't know that they were supposed to be boiling. You cannot tell me that this same group of people that were concerned about a boil advisory do not want to get their lead lines replaced at a discount rate. I don't believe that. So I need to know how many Trentonians is on this replacement, because I have a problem and I expressed my concerns to everyone on Friday. My concern is this: Trenton owns the water department. If you're going to do 2,600 homes, you need to tell me how many of those 2,600 homes are in Trenton. I don't need to get a resolution saying that you divided up the replacement lines with Ewing, Lawrence, and Hamilton, when Trenton residents sit on the Delaware, and when they came up to us first, they said, we're going to address all of the homes that are in the crucial areas. But you never gave us a list, and then to say that Trentonians didn't show up to fill out that paperwork to get that replacement, the lead replacement line prices reduced. I just can't believe that. So I need a list of all of the Trentonians that's on that replacement list. And I see you gave me 2 separate resolutions here. I wanted a list, and I wanted you gave me 2 resolutions, and the resolutions, all this did was broke down into $8 million.
So, Madam President, I actually saw a document that came through showing the number of Trentonians that had applied for the program, and you went. So there was a document. I'm just going to have it in front of me attached to the resolution.
Okay, so I have some residents here that can speak to the fact that, first of all, they never received any type of letter. Then I have some residents here to speak to the fact that they sent in a letter a year ago and never heard anything back from this administration. So I'm just not happy with how you divided this up, and I think that although Ewing, Lawrence, Hamilton, and Hopewell are our customers, as a council person representing the Trentonians, I'm concerned about Trenton first, and then Lawrence, Ewing, Hamilton, and Hopewell. I need their service lines do need to be replaced, but I need to see where the Trenton residents.
Yes. So, Madam President, I have a document that shows that the city of Trenton actually currently has registered 527 properties. The estimated replacement number is 850, so we have 527 people that have registered.
Okay. So now, as I've spoken to you earlier,
Would you like to see the list?
yeah, I wanted to see the list.
To make sure that we reach out to as many Trentonians as possible. And that will be probably within the next couple of weeks. We're going to be doing that. Yeah, so according to the way the breakdown actually has been done, we can address up to 1,100 Trenton residents.
That would be great. I think that would be great. The other thing that you didn't add to the list as far as advertising is the robocall. Because we do have the robocall, and when something this serious is taking place in the city of Trenton, to reach some of the residents that don't have computers, because we are dealing with a lot of senior citizens that don't have access to online services. And I believe that robocall, could just explain it to them a little bit, or raise their consciousness about what is taking place, and then they can get information. You can direct them to where to get more information from with the robocall. Councilman Santiago was going to speak next, then Vaughn, and then Councilman Blakely.
Yes, I came to the presentation they gave, and I found out how that works. I saw what's the procedure, and what you have to do is put your address in the computer, and it shows if the LED service line needs to be changed. Not the portion that goes to your house, which is just a piece of pipe that screws to the LED service line. That's what I found out. Mine is okay. But if the same way that I found mine there, why don't the way of water works goes through all of them that needs to be replaced, because a lot of them do not need to be replaced. I saw it. Not so many. Depends on when some from the 70s was switching the 70s, 80s. They have been a continuous thing, change on that LES line. So why don't they get letters in the mail? I see that Trenton Water Works has been spending a lot of money in these ads. I see it like twice a week. I see a full page, sometimes no papers, saying how much good Water Works is doing, the resource. But why couldn't they spend a few dollars to send these letters directly to those property owners where the lead service line needs to be replaced? Because that way it could be done at the same time, and it's an easy way to check if you need to switch it to the basement. Before you get to the meter, the pipe, touch it a little bit. If it's covered, it's okay. If it's iron, then it's recommended that it be replaced. So nothing to be replaced, but if they are going to change the main part of it, so you should let everybody that is going to be affected know about it by mail. No, I believe we use the internet, we use whatever, but it should be a letter. And I have been asking the residents. I never got any letters. Nobody I know have gotten any letters saying that their lead service line needs to be replaced, or that they are replacing. Not the lead service line, but the lead service line is the responsibility of the city. That's something else that you have been using. This term, lead service line. Lead service line is from the main line to about the sidewalk, and then from there, all the resident is responsible for is the copper, depending on how long. If the township is probably more. Township is going to be longer, but in Trenton it's going to be probably 8, 10, 12 feet of copper, and it's screwed to the lead service line, and then screws to the meter. We are very an elbow inside, and it screws right there. That piece of copper, I don't think it's worth $1,000. I don't think it's worth $1,000. And if it has to be done, it should be done, but you should let the people know if they need to check it themselves, or you could have somebody from Water Works going to every resident and checking the pipes just before the meter to see if they need to be replaced or not. Because that's the problem. How are you going to apply for a program? How are you going to apply for something when you don't know if yours needs to be changed or not?
Councilwoman Vaughn.
Yes. Mr. Cruz? Oh, you want to
Yeah,
answer?
I just have one answer for Santiago. Councilman, 18,000 letters were sent out back in July to the residents that had the lead service line going to their property. So it was 18,000 people that received the letters. Citywide. Everyone that's receiving, yes. So some people may not have received them because, as you mentioned, the age of the house.
That means that
I can hear you, I'm sorry.
we have, how many? We have about 250 customers, something like that in the whole county, 4 towns. So that means that only 80,000 of them have to be changed. Talking about the ones that need to be changed. That's what the letter said. That they have to be replaced. So.
The engineer from CDM is here, if you want to perhaps ask any additional questions, or maybe she could do a very brief presentation as to what the approach is, if that, maybe that will answer some of the questions. Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. How many, what is the total population in the city of Trenton that from Trenton Waterworks doing the analysis of the city of Trenton, how many households are impacted that have lead lines?
My name is Ashley, and I just want to clarify, the lead service line is from the street into the meter. So the portion that's owned by Trenton Waterworks is from the street where the service line connects the main to the curb, and the homeowner owns the other portion. The issue is that Trenton records and all the township records, they don't have a record of what the material is from the curb stop into the home. So we are reaching out, so if Trenton replaced their side, we don't have a record of what's on the customer side. So that is something that Trenton Waterworks is currently working on to get that information. We have a man going out.
Let me, Madam President, I'm going to ask more questions, okay? So the answer is you do not know.
On the customer side.
No, I'm talking about the city of Trenton.
Yes.
I don't care about the township. I really don't.
Yes.
All right, so right now I'm just talking about the city of Trenton.
Okay.
I need to know how many own in Trenton side.
So I'm saying the Trenton side, the Trenton Waterworks owned side, there's the customer resident of Trenton owned side.
For the record, can you say your name and what entity you represent?
Sandra Fitzing with CDM Smith.
Thank you.
So we have, so I'm only talking about Trenton. So there's the Trenton Waterworks owned side and then the resident owned side. So we don't know, Trenton Waterworks does not know how many on the customer owned side. So the number that we can give you, I can look it up on my computer, is how many are on the Trenton Waterworks side. The customer side is still unknown.
So when you say customer, you mean on the household side, on the home side?
Yes.
So we have not established that number yet. So, having said that, based on this resolution here, how, is this only an estimate when you say 650 lead lines will be replaced by December 31st, 2019?
So
If we don't know a baseline as to how many residents that we have to replace, then how these estimates could be, way off.
So the first contract, so the resolution we're talking about right now is actually for CDM Smith contracts to do the design work and the inspection work. It's not for the construction, that's a little bit later down on the resolution. There's two different contracts. And what the contractors are each committed to doing 1,300 lead service line replacements throughout the service area. We don't have all the people signed up quite yet. We're still working on that. What we have found, we're also working in Newark, What we have found the most effective way to get residents to sign up is when the contractors are about to mobilize to a neighborhood, they go door to door. And they say, hey, we're going to be tearing up your street next week. Now's the time to sign up for lead service line. We found that that is the most effective way to get the contractors on the street.
One of the things, when did you start? When did you start?
Working for Trenton.
Yeah.
We got a contract in March 2018.
Okay. So you were here when the website rolled out. Now, I got elected and I started this role July 1st. And during that month, the website rolled out, the lead service replacement line website. I placed it on my social media pages for Trentonians to share, and I encouraged everybody to go sign up and did a blast, and that's what folks did. So I just want to know how, I know a lot of my neighbors said, Robin, I did what you said, I signed up, so why aren't you guys sourcing that database for all the homes that did sign up? Now on the website, it clearly outlines a process. Number one, as to Councilman Rodriguez's comment, that number one, it tells the homeowner that it gives you an option. Are you going to get an assessment done? That means that's free. That someone from Trenton Waterworks is going to come, you call, and you say, I just want to know, just do the assessment, just identify whether or not I need remediation. Then there's the second option that you can pick, total replacement. And then there's another option that you pick if you need financial assistance. Now, where's the compilation of this information? Because that's the database that you should be referencing to determine which Trentonians you guys should be targeting first for remediation. Has that been done?
Yes, it has.
Okay. So how many came from the website?
So I have 527. I don't remember the percentages of who sent in the actual physical form. There was 3 options. You could send in the form, you could email, or you could sign up with the form on the website.
And then I know there are some folks who also called in as well.
Yes, you're right, there were. Yep, so it was all put in the same database, and that is included in the construction contract. So everyone that's registered that has a confirmed lead service line is included in the contract.
Yes, so that's 5, 7. So now we have a population of people that have not been identified and captured at all. And you're recommending that we do what Newark has done and go door to door?
So that's included in the contractors. So when we, our specifications for the contractors that are going to be doing these replacements, they're required to go, and when they're going out to an area, so we're going to schedule with them and with Trenton and with the contractor going door to door and asking people to sign up.
Okay, so I just want to make a recommendation, right? Because I've been working with this process with my constituents. And I know that they want to see, as Madam McBride mentioned, more communication, more direction, more guidance from the water utility regard to, what, when, how, what we need to do, the homeowner, what you guys need to do, etc. So we kind of need a plan. And so I just want to say that in the Public Works Department, they're about to go out street to street and pave roads, right? So it's a coordinated effort between a homeowner, street department, and they got to know what time they're going to come in the street so people can move their cars, about what date, what hour, so forth and so forth. Now, why do we not have that same type of coordination with Trenton Waterworks in the community? Let us know what days between the schedule says you're going to replace whatever number of lines by the end of the year, right? So where is the schedule that says we're going to be on Hillcrest Avenue, we're going to replace X amount of homes, so we're coming. And so I want to know, I want to go to the website, just like they did in Public Works, and they have all the streets that are going to be paved, what time, and blah, blah, blah. When is that schedule so it's clear that I want to know what time you come to my house and replace my lead pipe?
So the contractors that would be doing that work, we have to get them on board first before we lay out that schedule. So we're working with the contractors to help, to mobilize. We're going to come up with a plan, and that's going to be on websites, we're gonna let people know, people are gonna call in advance. I mean, all that is to come, like that's part of these contracts.
Well, you've been here since last year, 2018,
Right. So
and you still don't have a plan.
we do have a plan, but we're not the contractor, so we're not going to the street and.
Okay, still don't have a plan.
Thank you, Councilman, for your recommendations. As a matter of fact, what you recommended is exactly what we are going to be doing. And let me explain this to you. This lead replacement program. Number one, there's a statewide task force, and I'm one of the task force members. This is the first time in the whole nation we are doing this kind of work. And as you see, Flint, the city of Flint, Michigan, they went through this millions of dollars. They still have no idea how to get a clear, comprehensive inventories. And what we are doing here is we decided as part of this approach we are taking, we wanted to have contractors come in, and we already tried different venues to try to explain to the public, to the people. Myself, I'm going to some of the neighborhood homeowners associations to explain the importance of signing up to be part of it. And we do still struggle, but no way we can knock everybody's door. So the approach we are going to be taking is, once you have the contractors involved, this will be part of their operations and procedures they have to follow. And that is, first, we identify the area we got started, and then as part of the requirements, the area with the similar demographic information, we wanted the contractors to have individuals going door to door and explain to every single door within the communities, and let them step forward, and then at the same time, Trenton Water Works, we also will have people there to try to explain the difference between lead pipeline and not lead pipeline, because a lot of people still get confused. What's the difference? But that's what we are going to be doing. We wanted to make sure we cover, just like the whole carpet kind of approach is to make sure we reach out to everybody. And I can assure you, this $2,600, once we get started, I will expect that very soon we are going to reach to that level within the first few months. Because when people start seeing the machines get started and the workers are knocking the doors, and also they start seeing people showing up and to tell the residents the difference between pipeline and the regular copper line or plastic PVC line, then they start realizing, and maybe they should fill out the form. The reason we want them to fill out the form is there's a legal implications here, because we are not allowed to touch individual properties unless the individual sign their name. So that's what we are looking for. A lot of people have no idea. They didn't want to sign their name. But this is going to help them. I think we just want to overcome that first step.
Thank you, Dr. Shea. I just want to have just two more questions. So, the payment. What's the plan to collect payment for this replacement?
The payments we are going to be doing is, we already met with our lawyers and our assessors and the tax collectors. And we also have to go through all of the four townships, and of course including City of Trenton. And the payments is going to be, hopefully will be very straightforward. And that is, you can pay once, or you can divide that into 1 year or 2 years. And then you pay as part of your payback your water bill. And that's how we're going to do it.
What I'm asking is, in Trenton, we have a lot of low income
That's
and
correct.
poor families who cannot afford even the discounted rate of $1,000, right?
Yeah.
So my understanding was that the funding that we were going to get was going to help subsidize the qualified individuals that didn't meet, that could not even pay $1,000.
This is the point we try to make in front of the state finance board. But again, this is something without the official approval in terms of the process. We have to take, we will have to, just wait until we have that
But in
approval.
all fairness, when we talk talk about the plan. This should be included in your plan, because so the next time you go to the state, you'll be able to give them exact numbers.
That's exactly.
And how many, folks who are income deficient and can't afford the $1,000, and the city has to subsidize for the state, right?
I agree with you. And also, we have to identify the property owners and the tenants, because in Trenton, we find out a lot of properties, they have the property owners could be living in Kansas City, and here you have about 5 or 10 tenants, and of course, they don't want to pay for it. So we try to look into legally how we are going to be able to ask the property owner to step
This
forward.
whole conversation right now really concerns me, because here we are, you're asking the council right now to approve millions of dollars. And right now, we really don't know that this would be sufficient to even cover the work that we're talking about.
Right.
We don't have a plan to reconcile it to.
We do have a clear plan. As a matter of fact, Newark is the first one to be forced by the state to get started, and then we are the second one. And if we get started, this definitely is going to be, we are going to identify more issues, problems. But at the same time, and this is another thing, the state law will not allow public agencies such as Trenton Water Works to pay for the enhancements of property value. And what we are going to be doing here is there are some things we are going to be used as part of a second round application packages with the state infrastructure bank. And you got to understand $15 million. 9 out of 15, 9 is really basically is the principle for giving money. And then 5 additional 6 million is about less than 50% of the market rate. And this is the kind of thing. State so far already used some money for Trenton and the Newark. And there are other municipalities that still don't have the opportunities to get this kind of money. And we are going to get started right away for the second round of...
For the purposes of this council, I would just like to ask, or even if it's a draft plan, can you provide us with that?
Yeah, Colin is going to talk about from the administrative perspective.
And more specifically, I just need a plan that says we got the $15 million loan from the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank. What piece of work is going to be used, which rollout will be hit against that bond? And then which rollout will be hit with the other? I just need to know the reconciliation of this whole piece of work.
Colin Cherry, Assistant Business Administrator, Councilwoman, let me address that directly. So the contracts that you're seeing before you this evening for CD& Smith is the engineering firm that's going to help with education and architecture and engineering. We have the 2 contractor bids. The contract work is going to fall under that $15 million. These are projected numbers in bids, and we have all the bid detail there. So we are talking about projections, and we are estimating in terms of the number of homes, the number of replacements we expect to do in those communities of those types. So you'll see a breakdown in the bid document regarding, as my colleague spoke to, partial replacements and full replacements, how those costs differ. I wanted to speak a little bit to your point about how we collect the money, and that we think is a very critical thing. So the reason we're asking for a vote on these issues right now, these 4 resolutions, is that we are under a DEP deadline to award the construction contracts. We were actually supposed to award them last week, but due to the council schedule, we were able to secure an extension. We need to award the contracts, but that does not mean that we're going to get out there and put shovels in the ground without doing this further outreach to our community and getting more residents involved. We just need to actually award the contracts in order to satisfy that DEP deadline. And in satisfying that DEP deadline, we also secure the loan from the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank. We need these contracts in place in order for them to have confidence that this project is moving forward. And once we have that in place, then we can roll out the education. And one of the biggest components, and you're absolutely right to question this, is how we're going to collect those funds. So we are working with PCA in terms of developing a contract for an attorney that specializes in this. This is actually kind of new territory in the entire state of New Jersey. As the director was speaking to, we only recently received the authorization by statute to do work on private property with public funds. And Newark is the only other municipality that has taken advantage of this yet. And their waterworks are only dealing with the city of Newark. They don't have the challenges we have where we have to do work in other municipalities and find a way to not disadvantage Trenton residents. Because what we don't want to have is a world in which we are enforcing on our own residents and just hoping that the other municipalities remit the money to us. So we are seeking to secure the services of legal counsel who can help us come up with both a payment structure, which we believe may likely be based on a percentage of the actual replacement cost. So it may actually go down, particularly for Trenton residents. If you notice in the bid documents, the projected cost for a Trenton replacement in these bids is the lowest of the projected costs. For a partial, for a Trenton resident, it's $1,750. For the awarded vendor for the partial portion that the homeowner would own, $1,950 for Ewing, and then approximately $3,300 for Hamilton and Lawrence. And this is all based on expectations about the kinds of projects that would be done. Again, those numbers will change based on, the number of units will change based on how our outreach goes. But we are committed to doing outreach. Do not think that just because these contracts are awarded, that the homes have been determined and that there is no opportunity for Trenton residents to continue to be enrolled. And we do not have a cap. We have to offer the program to all of the municipalities, but we do not have a cap that says that 1,000 Trenton residents cannot sign up for our list. The first phase is 2,600 lead service lines, which is approximately 14% of the total expected lead service lines, which matches that 18,000 number that you heard earlier about our mailings. And we hope that we are moving aggressively to come up with a cost structure. One of the proposals is a monthly payment over 5 years, which if we did charge $1,000, a 5-year payback with no interest and no penalties would be approximately $18 a month to the residents. We felt that that was a much more reasonable number than paying off in 1 year. And we're looking for other options.
Would that be part of another line item in our water bill?
So we do not believe that we legally can assess it on the water bill. We believe that it will have to be what is called a special assessment, which would be through the tax collector's office. It would not be sent out with your tax bill. It is an additional bill that essentially says, pursuant to this agreement you have with the city of Trenton, with the Trenton Water Works, again, the details of how that agreement will look are still being worked out, but it would be a separate payment. And statutorily, the issue is that this is the only way to spend money that Trenton has to provide improvements on private property. That is kind of the barrier here, as generally as a municipal government, we would not be allowed to add value to a private property.
But you will not be able to put that assessment on the property tax bill over in the township, right? Because you don't have jurisdiction to do that.
So the answer is, the reason we're not moving forward yet is because we want to hire that law firm. We don't know yet whether it means that those municipalities assess those taxes on Trenton's behalf. We don't know what that structure is going to look like yet. As I said, this is really completely uncharted territory in the state of New Jersey. We would be the first to do this, and so we want to make sure, we want to.
And one of the points that I was, someone, my question, one of the points I would say, well, you stated very clearly that Newark is different because, they just only have to worry about the city of Newark. So collecting the funds via, the tax assessor's office or whatever, they're good. But with Trenton, we're at risk because we can potentially end up getting stuck with the bill. Because we will not, depending on what the attorney says, we have no jurisdiction or no ability to go out to the townships and, enforce or make them pay.
Well, Councilwoman, I commit to you that the entire reason I wanted to explain that is that we are very aware of that, and we are not going to allow the city of Trenton to be put in a position where we are beholden to residents of, or governments of other municipalities that we have no ability to require to collect our money. So we do not want to begin putting shovels in the ground until we are comfortable, and the council is comfortable, that we have a method to collect these funds from the townships as well as our other residents. We do believe that it is going to have to be a special assessment, but the details of that assessment and what our authority may be, and what authority they can give us, because we can ask them to pass an ordinance giving us some sort of authority in order to participate in this program, but that is what we need to secure legal counsel to talk to us about.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Right.
Councilman Williams?
You're right the first time.
Well, see, that was a joke. We're getting them all in. So I have a question, Mr. Chair. Can we legally privilege Trentonians over our neighbors, residents who are in different municipalities who use the woodwork? So, give you an example. If we had room for 5 houses, could we theoretically say that all 5 houses have to be Trenton? Or does there have to be a certain breakdown? What is our statutory obligation? Because we have limited funds. And so could we theoretically say, hey, we have a limited pot, so as the governing body for the woodworks, we're going to use all the money for Trenton, and anything we have left over, we'll use for the suburbs. Can we legally do that?
So, we cannot simply say we have to give preference to Trentonians. We have a prioritization plan, and we would be happy to put, and my plan is, our plan, is to put a more robust presentation together for the council once we have things like the payment method in place, and then we'll talk to things like how we prioritize. Now, much of that part,
I think, we cannot say that openly because we are being regulated by local finance law. But again, when we have our management team doing the operation, we will definitely communicate within our own city hall and including council to make sure we get input from you as to how we can do it technically.
Well, I'm afraid you're not answering my question, so let me phrase it another way. Can we, as a council, do we have the authority to say that because this is a special program, we are only going to do Trenton residents, or basically is that number dictated by another authority? And I'm not asking this because I have an answer that I'm seeking to get. I'm asking just for clarification purposes. What is the extent of our authority to make determinations around who gets work done in our service area?
I understand what you mean.
Councilman, so the prioritization plan was approved by the DEP. So the answer is we have met with the DEP and we have suggested a prioritization plan that we believe
ratepayers who are most at risk.
So let me ask you a question. Is it possible in the prioritization program that we can actually say, prioritize certain Trenton places? Like, what is the criteria for determining what's a priority and what's not? And how much of that priority process, or priority setting process, is governed by our interests as a body?
So the answer is that the prioritization process has to be approved by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. At the moment, and as I said, we're seeking to put together a more robust presentation for council, and we can talk about more detail that prioritization plan. At the moment, I would suggest that it does address a substantial amount of Trenton residents and does help assist a lot of Trenton residents, but DEP is very focused on making sure that we are addressing priorities that are not directly related to the municipality that the resident or homeowner resides in. It is just that, as Council President spoke to earlier, things like proximity to the Delaware River, things that have otherwise been talked about, you know, the age of the homes, et cetera, those kinds of things tend to overly affect Trenton residents. But we have not said, you know, we will prioritize Trenton residents because they live in Trenton.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I did want to point out that we are in weekly meetings with DCA about this funding mechanism. In fact, I met with our monitor this morning to discuss the funding mechanism and hiring an attorney to help us with that. And we are really just asking council members for your support and your vote this week to make sure that we get this loan secured. We have applied for it, but it is not secured until we make sure that we have these contracts in place so that we can encumber the funds and the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank can release those funds to us.
So will you be keeping us up to date as far as with the attorney and how you're going to structure out that payment plan for the other municipalities and for the Trentonians? Will you keep us up to date with that?
Absolutely, and we hope to have a resolution to award a contract to an attorney before you, either at the next council meeting or the council meeting following that, and we will keep you up to date.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you. I really appreciate it. Mr. Harris, would you continue?
Resolution 19-167, in conjunction with all that was discussed, has actually been divided up into two resolutions. One is going to be number 19-167A, and will be titled Resolution Accepting a Bid and Awarding a Contract to Roman E&G Corporation for lead service line replacement phase 1A-2 for Ewing Township in an amount not to exceed $2,839,642.31. And Resolution 19-167B will be titled Resolution Accepting a Bid and Awarding a Contract to Roman E&G Corporation for lead service line replacement phase 1A for the city of Trenton in an amount not to exceed $5,994,467.69. And I think I would just flip the 67A and 67B just for continuity. Next is Resolution 19-168, which is a resolution accepting a bid and awarding a contract to South State Incorporated for lead service line replacement phase 1B for the Lawrence and Hamilton Townships in an amount not to exceed $8,433,350. Resolution 19-169 is a resolution authorizing a change order number 1 to the contract of Act 2 LLC for the disinfection upgrade project. Completion of work shall be for 241 calendar days from notice to proceed in an amount not to exceed $400,129.61. Resolution 19-170 is a resolution accepting a bid and awarding a contract to Municipal Maintenance Company for corrosion control treatment Phase 1 at the central pumping station, and an amount not to exceed $632,000. And Resolution 19-171, again, is the resolution to approve the fiscal year 2019 municipal current fund budget amendments number 2 for the city of Trenton. During the dialogue, I went and looked up the local budget law, which reads, amending resolutions must be read in full at the hearing and before adoption. Adoption requires a majority of the full membership vote, not the supermajority. So 4 members would adopt the budget, or the budget amendments and the budget.
Excuse me, did you want to say something, Ms.?
Yes.
Mr.?
Yeah, under the Faulkner Act, park system from inspections. Under the Faulkner Act, under 4069A 46, last paragraph, council may reduce any item or items of the mayor's budget by a vote of majority of by council, but an increase of any items or the items thereof shall become effective only upon the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the members of the council. My thought is, after speaking to council, is that we get a clarification from TCA Forum and how Seattle want to proceed with this amendment. Because we have a situation here where you have the mayor's budget, which was reduced, and then DCA saying it has to be back increased. So is it a true increase? Or are we just going back to the original budget? So I'll get clarification on that.
And I will agree with you on that, because when the directives for budget amendments are coming from the DCA, which this is, a little different spin on things. The council is not amending the mayor's budget, the DCA is amending the city budget.
Yes, that's why we need clarification to make sure that we're in compliance on how the vote goes down. And I think that makes us avenue.
I would concur.
Thank you.
At this time, Director Shakira Abdul-Ali would like to request consideration from the governing body to include 2 additional resolutions on the docket.
Shakira Abdul-Ali, Director of Health and Human Services. Thank you very much, Council President McBride and council members of council. I'm requesting that that you bring forward for consideration the resolution for our application and acceptance of a Title III grant and a Title 20 grant for Mercer County Board of Social Services. Council President and Vice President are aware that we attempted to bring this before council earlier, and we had an issue because DCA would not provide us with a waiver for this, because I think the reason is because we had not presented this information to DCA in time. The applications were actually submitted in September. At that time, we were under the impression that we could do a resolution, a single resolution to apply and accept once they gave us notice of the award. What we were told in January is that we needed to do 2 resolutions, one to apply and then one to accept. When we presented that information to DCA, they said we were out of compliance with the MOU. In that they were saying that we needed to do the apply and accept for the application at least beforehand. And what I learned after extended conversation with Tina Vignali at the DCA is that the reason was that these 2 grants both require matches from city funds. Both of these grants provide for staffing at all 4 of our senior centers, well, 3 of our senior centers. And we do provide a match. there's a substantial match. In one case, I'm not sure which one, we provide a dollar for dollar match, and the other one, we provide a little over 50% match. So we finally got this issue resolved after hours of conversation, and they provided us with a waiver today, or last night. So to that end, I'm asking that you consider the approval of these resolutions, or consider passing these resolutions, so that we can present this information to Mercer County and we can draw down on the funds because we've been spending them.
So, would you like to make a motion to have the city clerk you ready for the vote? Yes. Mr. Blakely?
I have a question. I'm a member, vice chair of the Mercer County Board of Social Services. I'd like to ask the legal counsel if it would be appropriate for me to vote on this as a member of the body.
What's your role?
I'm the vice chairman of the board.
And this grant is coming from the Mercer County Board of Social Services?
Yeah. Okay, that's exactly what I was asking. I'm going to recuse myself. Thank you.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Yes. So these two resolutions will be included on the docket. The first one will be numbered Resolution 19-172, and will be titled Resolution Authorizing the City of Trenton to apply and accept for a grant from the Mercer County Office of Aging 2019-2020 over American Act Social Services Block Grant for the financial support of care management and the options to extend for 2021. The grant amount is $50,000 with a cash match of $80,073 per year. The second one will be titled the same, but the grant amount is $173,532 with a cash match of $200,678 per year. And 17-12? 19-172 and 19-173. And that concludes the resolutions for your consideration on Thursday. Ordinance is being presented for first reading.
President McBride.
Yes.
I'd like to pull 19-29, 19-30, and 19-1933 for review and edit. There were some concerns raised by the administration. DCA would like to review 19-33, and I'd like to add some language to bolster security and background checks for 19-29 and 19-30.
Madam Chair? Yes. So I would like to ask the legal department on 1929 and 1930, where it actually states that if youth can be appointed to these boards. I don't feel that Mr. Morley did due diligence in vetting the legality, because each and every one of the board of commissions were done by ordinance. And they have their rules as to who gets appointed and who doesn't. And I don't think this has to work with. They have to look and see how you can do this without violating their ordinance.
Well, maybe you didn't hear what I just said, Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson. That's exactly why I am calling for them to be pulled, as I mentioned, for additional review by the legal department. And so that's exactly why I made my motion. I'm not sure why you felt it necessary to say what I just said. Thank you.
This is my right to ask questions.
Oh, you have rights to do anything you want.
And secondly, since you allude to the fact that we're all stupid, then maybe that's why I asked.
Well, stupid is, stupid does. Shoe fits where?
This is regarding, the resolution, ordinance 1931. The ordinance amending the use of the city-owned or operated parks and imposing new restrictions and penalties for the improper use of all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, in city limits. I want to have that, I guess, pulled or tabled for more information. I just want to kind of understand from the law department, what is the current policy from the New Jersey Department of Motor Vehicles as it relates to these type of vehicles?
President Ryan. So, if I'm not mistaken, the reason why something is on the docket is so that that process can take place, right? So, when we vote to put something on the docket, we are not saying, hey, we agree with this. What happens is you have multiple steps after it's placed on the docket for us to ask any questions that we have to secure our information that we feel is necessary to vote yea or nay. And so, that's the fact of the matter is that.
But I'm not finished about my question regarding the ATVs. So I was about to ask for the police department to come up as well, but I would still like the policy of a vehicle. Is there, these vehicles have to be licensed, et cetera, et cetera. But Detective Vaughn, Captain Vaughn, if you could provide some context, that would be good.
Captain Warren, Trenton Police Department. As far as the ATVs, according to state statute, yes, ATVs are supposed to be registered, and they're also supposed to be insured. However, they are not street legal.
So, ma'am, he has a list. He has a list. How about Barbara Miller? Don't go so far back, you'll be next. State your name and your address.
Trenton, New Jersey, 08618. I'm concerned about my name not being on the list for the day. I never received a letter. I've never been on the calling list. I've never got anything through the computer. Okay? I'm a senior citizen and I'm a woman. And I do want to be notified of stuff that's going on and be taken off of the list, because I don't know whether I'm on the list or whether I'm not on the list. And then the fact that I know I heard them say something about the accountability and whether you have the right amount of money paid for it or not. This is a big problem for me. And I feel as if though the city has pipes that has lead in them, I should be paying for something that they had going on years ago.
I too also am a resident of Trenton, 1450 West State Street, and I do not, to my recollection, recall receiving information. I'm not a computer tech person, so that's totally out. And I too also would like to have the ability to apply for this material that's been offered to our city residents.
My name is Betty Glidden. I live 1408 West State Street, and I never received any information or saw any type of notice about the lead pipes being going to be corrected. I do feel that I would not want to add it to the water bill because it would make the water bill high, and it's already high enough. In the past, when we used to have things sent out to us, we got letters from companies who were trying to do different things in this city. I prefer that you go back to that to the residents of this city. Not only am I a resident of the city, I'm a community person. I'm involved in this community. I'm involved in this city. And I do not appreciate not being alert or aware of things that are happening in this city. So in the meantime, we would like for the residents of the West Ward Roman to be notified about these things because none of us on West State Street received any information. So I'm just speaking here for my former neighbors also, to let you know that we weren't aware of this, and that's what I'm saying tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn. I'll get the information out to you.
Thank you.
Somebody from the administration could speak to you guys. Somebody can speak to you.
Charlie Lafayette.
I did receive the letter. I do believe that Councilman Briggs' statement about that. I think that the residents aren't really speaking, put out anything that they do have going on. This might be not the agenda to bring it out since it's not on the docket, but I do think if the residents of the city can get out and come here, they should be able to stretch what's on their minds. There shouldn't be any limitation whatsoever. If there's an issue about whether you guys can address it, as far as I know, you guys can give us any answers anyhow at the time that we put out on the statements. So we have plenty of time to address the issue and get it placed on the docket. So to say that we cannot speak or say our minds, to me, sounds a little ridiculous. So with that being said, the water issue. I've been here speaking for the past 4 or 5 years, pretty much on the same issue about the water department in general. I know this isn't the water department in general, but specifically, the water department is our biggest issue as far as street repairs in the city of Trenton. Every other township surrounding the city of Trenton have inspectors that follow behind any street repairs that's done on the streets within 72 hours. Whether it's a partial repair or permanent repair. That inspector's job is to go behind that company or individual, whoever does that repair, to ensure that the repair is done properly. The city of Trenton does not have that. All these code inspectors' cars that we have out here that we bought, we do not do that. Why? It's behind me. Because 90% of our repairs and expense comes in repair of the streets. I know this because my brother did nothing but construction for 60 years. That's why I'm totally behind Mr. Blakey with this. You have good speakers on my mind. They say that the city of Trenton Water Department, when they go to Ewing, Lawrence, and Hamilton, they make the proper repairs because they're forced to. City of Trenton do not. If you don't repair patch properly, especially in the winter, water has a tendency to fall into the cracks and freeze at night. Frozen water, just like anything else, you can't stop water from going anywhere it wants to. It's the most destructive force in the world, is water. You cannot stop it. Can't be. No matter what you design to stop it, it will not stop the force of water. So when water freezes, it's going to do what? It's going to erupt the ground. It's going to push up. It's going to cause main breaks. It's going to cause street disruptions. And I've had enough of coming to the city of Trenton with the same complaint year after year after year. And to watch you guys get all that money in repairs last year, have the water department come on Laurel Avenue, which I personally have put 10 complaints in over the past 6 months, has not been addressed yet. I'm tearing up my car, driving down Laurel Avenue, hitting the same bump. When we repaired it, City came behind it and screwed it up, the water department. We're costing ourselves 3 or 4 times the amount of money in a 5-year span, fixing the same things over and over again. Because we won't employ code inspectors to follow behind, especially the city water department. The issue at hand is on the docket. Yes, I did receive the letter, April of last year. Nothing to say when we'll get around to do it. Yes, it asked me about, it gave us 3 options at that time, which one we'd like to elect, which one to inform you guys, which one we wanted, and how you guys are going to set up the pricing of receiving the money. But for me here, I don't know your lady's name, I want to come up and say that the city of Trenton has no idea which pipes need to be replaced in the homes, when we literally shut down the streets of the city of Trenton to make sure we flushed out all of the mains, correct? We flushed out the mains of every house that the city, that the workers get into in every business. The whole entire city was done that shit. So how do we not know which pipes need to be replaced when we're in the homes? We connected the pipes, the lines to the inline of the water and to the outline, so we can flush the entire systems. I was told this by people who did the jobs. So how do we not know which pipes need to be replaced? So to come here and fumble around with pieces of paper and say, I guess maybe 18,000, I guess, we don't know exactly how many. We should know exactly how many. We went to everyone's homes last year. So throw me out your meeting. I'll never come back again because I went out of the city of Trenton. 54 years in the city of Trenton, this is what I get. A city that don't give a damn about us. It's not directed to you as a city council specifically, but in general. If you guys can't get your act together, how the hell are you going to listen to us to get your act together? Of course the mayor office is not paying attention to you guys. Celebrate somewhere else about this is the way it works. It is the way it works. Been a first sergeant representative for 42 years. It is not the way it works. Not in a democratic society anyhow. So that's my skill as far as me waiting for 2 hours and a half to get up there and make my skill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dan.
Moving forward.
I want to talk about that on the agenda, is that okay?
Sure, okay. Come on.
Either the rules apply or they don't, just making things up as we go along. I mean, I want you to speak, but I'm just saying.
I just want to be clear that what I want to talk about is on the agenda, on today's agenda.
You should always be able to talk about what you want to talk about. Current rules, we can't.
Comment to productive items only.
Not a problem. We have to Thursday.
Mr. Harris, you know, that it's very important, what you have to say.
Thursday will be good.
This guy sat here for 2.5 hours.
Jarrell, cut it out now. You're being rude. Come on. Being rude. Mr.
2.5 hours. You should have a right to say whatever you
Jarrell,
Excuse
right
me,
now.
Right. I appreciate you trying to do it for me, but in a sense of what we need to do, we have to do it in order. We have to follow the rules, we have to follow the laws. And what I want to talk about is about how things are being processed in the city of Trenton, breaking the laws. So I want to wait till Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of myself and several other residents and Open Civic, speaking to Housing and Economics Grant, we had applied for a Housing and Economics Grant. Well, let me just keep it to myself. I applied for a Housing and Economics Grant and was told that there is a list that exists that wasn't talked about by Farrah G. There is a list that exists, which puts me 101 on the list with Housing and Economics Rehab Grant. And speaking to the fact that there were only 18 houses being rehabbed a year, it would make me 7 years before I could get some work done on my home. It would be not several, but 7 years before it would be done on my home. The question was asked there's no money, there's $250,000 in the coffers for, making 300 homes need rehab. So again, I would ask council to address this with housing and economics to see how we can, make this work more expedient, or how we can address this issue as far as seniors are concerned. Because I have a senior on the list. She's already 98 years old, and after 7 years, I don't know who's going to be around, not even myself. So if we could address that issue with housing and economics, I would gladly appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the council at this time? Dr. Larry Jones?
Elijah Dixon, 134 East Campbell Street. I'm also the owner of apartment 108 North Montgomery Street and 219 East Campbell Street. So I did receive a letter for the lead line replacement program. That was initiated back during the Jackson administration. It seems like it was like a whole year. I followed it last year, followed it in January this year again. And I got a response in March. And they said, well, thank you. We apologize for taking so long to get back to me. If you have an interest in participating in the program, sign up for the list, to register, whatever it is all about. I did register like last year, you know what I'm saying? But beyond me, because I've been like led over 26 years now, so I guess I'm just, so far I'm more so concerned about the children in the household. But I will be talking to some of the staff, just to ensure that I'm on the list. But also, is this program just for homes? Is it also for commercial properties? Is it commercial property? Maybe you guys can address that, please. Commercial properties, and then also for 108 Montgomery Street, like Councilman Santiago, you know that was the home of, James Wells, and he's been deceased for like, going on almost 3 years, and I had to pay like a $500, like $469 fee for there was going to be a lien placed on it, I guess today. I did not pay this fee, and I inquired about the origination of the fee, and they said, oh, it's for the water, the water works placed the lien. And I'm just thinking, like, the property, this was been gone for 3 years now, no one's living in there. The pipes are all stolen out of it. There is no, and they said, oh, we're going to probably charging you rent for the water meter, $85. I said, there is no water meter, that's been stolen too, so why would I be charged for it? And then on top of, the whole vacant property registration, which I understand. But yeah, I think that the accountability practices, I would just like to hear more about them, and that's something that I've tried to contact Public Works, not Public Works, maybe Public Works over it, but like the water department itself. They say, oh, when you talk to the engineering office, but the engineering office, you get the number, you're static. This is just like very like 1990s, it's just kind of weird, really, but I just want to address those, so I did receive a letter. The communications are going out, but I feel like there's little to no follow-up, and so for individuals or left in like the ether, wondering if we are actually on this list, this magical list of items staying in place, and what the timeline is. And I heard all that being addressed earlier, so I'm not going to really harp on that. And I understand there's been strides taken to the best of people's abilities, but for the record, there are some improvements that need to be made. If the work is being done, people are just being this is taking on an uninformed populace, and so people don't know that it's going to come to these meetings and just like do what people do when they're concerned. So talk about that. And yes, I paid that amount, for like the Wellesley property, whatever, that's crazy.
Someone from the water department can speak to you now. Somebody else.
So if there are no further comments, is there a motion to close the public comments?
Councilwoman Vaughn, you want to start with your city comment?
Yeah, I'm first.
we moved to, switched over.
For the first time, how can you?
Councilwoman Law, the,
Yes, I'm just gonna make, I have a lot on my list that I wanna cover, but the meeting, we've been here for quite some time. One thing that I want to talk about, and I just want everybody to know, that I'm going to inform, I just want to give everybody a heads up, that I want to kind of speak on the whole inspector process across the board in the city. They're our first line of defense in our quality assurance officer, so to speak. And I just want to say to Mr. Cruz, I don't have any questions, but it's something that we should put on our radar for, how can we better help our housing inspectors, our health inspectors, our fire inspectors, and of course, the gentleman brought up the missing expertise that we don't have in-house right now is the road inspectors. Now, I agree with him, and I have gotten a lot of feedback from my constituents, particularly in the West Ward, that we don't have that, and the county does have it. If you go to the county website, they have a whole page dedicated to the process of road inspectors. So we need to, as a city, really take that function seriously and really commit to bringing that expertise to Trenton and perhaps start recruiting for it. And also, one inspection that I really also want to enhance is the garbage inspectors. I visit a couple of businesses in the West Ward, particularly on the corner of Stuyvesant and Huffman Avenue. Garbage and litter is all over the place. Down there on Stuyvesant and Prospect, garbage, litter, Hermitage Avenue, outside liquor stores, mainly liquor stores, right? And then you got the other liquor store down there on Huffman and Oakland, and you ride along those corners and liquor stores, it's garbage. These businesses are not being honest, they're just not sweeping up, maintaining their properties, and I don't know what more we can do, but I hope that we have enough garbage inspectors. I know there's one, Pamela Bush, she does a good job, but, we need to really get boots on the ground across all these housing, health, fire, road, garbage, etc. But also health as well. I'm hearing from the community that there is some bias in the way we inspect, and maybe we need, I don't know if we have an ordinance on the book that protect these employees when they're out in the field. They shouldn't be getting flack from the residences, right? They should be able to go out and do their jobs effectively without any hindrance, without any fear. So I really want to address this competency. All right, so it's just inspections across the board. If the health inspector go out and they're at a restaurant, that restaurant should not be calling me, a council person, complaining about a city inspector coming to his or her business to review it in the best interest of the city residents. If you're going to do business in our city, you should be able to expect that you have to be compliant with whatever inspection that you're supposed to be compliant with. And the pushback is just unacceptable. And I told my residents, my business owner that in the West Ward, I want to help you, but you got to be reasonable. You should be expecting to get an inspection and be compliant. You're not going to get any breaks from me because I'm on the side of the inspectors because they're doing their job. And they're trying to make our city, make sure that there's quality assurance and everybody in every process is just operating efficiently, effectively, and so forth. But I think that we can really make a difference if Works can get more inspectors out there. It looks like we're short of inspectors across the board. That's why our city looks like it looks. We don't have the garbage inspector, a fair number of, very quickly, Mr. Cruz, can you tell us how many garbage inspectors we have? I know we don't have any road inspectors. How many health inspectors we have? And of course, we know housing inspectors are at a critical mass. We don't have them. So there's nobody doing any quality assurance checks in any of our core processes. So I want, Mr. Cruz, I want you to huddle with all the directors and step it up with these inspectors, get them out there, particularly the garbage inspectors. They got to get to these businesses and make those sweep up in front of their properties. I'm out here sweeping out in front of my property and pick up garbage, and they have to do the same. I go to Hermitage Avenue, I don't know who that liquor store is, but it's like he puts garbage out in front of the street every day. And I drive down Stuyvesant Avenue on the corner of Huffman and, Stuyvesant. I spoke to that liquor store owner. They're not doing their jobs. So we need inspectors out there to tell them to do their jobs. And we need internally to support those individuals. So, we don't want any flack for them feeling bad about going out and, demanding that these people, help clean up the community.
Yes, Madam President, Councilwoman Vaughn. Just so that you are aware, these conversations have already taken place between myself, Arch Liston, who was the acting VA for a little while, Colin. We know that there's a need in the city to address the concerns that you brought up. And unfortunately, when the layers were done, they always look at positions that they may consider to be non-essential. Unfortunately, for the operations of the city, like regular operation, getting your garbage picked up, not inspected, they would determine whether inspectors were needed or the people that were collecting it. So the decision had to be made there. Of course, the people that collected it were the ones that remained, and inspectors were let go. We are going to have, we're going to be pushing, actually, to have more inspectors citywide, because yes, the condition that the city is in is actually in dire need of having more inspectors out in the field. We're going to push, we're going to be making that request to DCA as we present the 2020 budget. So yes, it is in our radar.
And I just wanted to throw one other, regarding the garbage inspection and the litter, right? So that's one aspect of cleanup. There is, what has reached crisis mode is also the illegal dumping, right? So I don't know what department or, that has to be. Code enforcement, yes. So I guess that's a subset of inspecting as well. So we really need, if we're going to make sure our city is clean and well-being, every single process that I mentioned here, housing inspection, that impacts the well-being of our citizens, right? The health and well-being with COs, right? The health inspector, all these disciplines impact the well-being and the safety of our citizens. And to say that these, not you, but any executive, any mayor who says, oh, if I have to cut, I'm going to cut my inspectors. What a poor decision that is. You should never, I don't think, they should not be on the chopping block, the inspectors, okay? Maybe some chief of staff folks, but not the inspectors, okay? So let's continue to keep that on the radar. Let's continue to keep that on the radar, and I'm going to bring it up periodically. I just hope that all the directors here that has this competency in under your purview, that you pay close attention to making sure that function is adequately resourced so that our citizens can see a difference out here.
We will do our best to convey the message.
When I'm out in my ward telling my residents and my businesses that if City Hall inspectors come out, do not push back on them, okay? Because I support them when they're doing their jobs and they're trying to help the community out. They're not there to bust your chops or make your life miserable. Okay, but they will if you're out here not cleaning up your garbage. Okay, thanks.
Yes, I want to speak about what Mr. Colon was going to mention. Was brought to my attention that there is a construction going on, 1450 South Broad Street. They are installing communications antenna there. As far as I understand, in order for them to start the construction there, before that they have to come to planning, zoning, get permits. It's very about number. It's the antenna for the police and fire department. The thing is that when I was told about it, I called, talked to the chief of staff, I asked him if that person had permits for that construction. He said yes. Were the neighbors notified? Was there a meeting, a public hearing and that? Oh yes, there was. Well, I need to get copies of the letters and flyers that were sent to those neighbors. There were. That stopped, and he called me about 2 hours afterwards saying that no, the communication was not to the mayor, it was a verbal call, whatever they call it, a verbal call. Supposedly the neighbors that was the type of communication I was using. As I inquired further, there was not, the issue never came to the planning board, never came to the zoning board. Supposedly a person from planning, a young lady from planning, the only person that was for the zoning inspections, they signed off on those permits, supposedly. That's what I heard. I requested a copy of those permits. They were not given to me. I'm going to stop down 6 o'clock tomorrow to put a number and request for them. Communications, that was my fear when I was in the military. Radio waves, or whatever they use now, the 5G, how they call it, they cause cancer with time. Takes time, but they could. Those antennas are not supposed to be placed neighborhoods, residential areas. No, they are cancer. That gentleman that is installing that antenna there, we have issues with him. Mr. Morelli told me a few minutes ago that the city was in the process of taking that gentleman from SRC Communications to court because he failed to do some remodeling or whatever was going to be done at the radio room, as they call it, the police station. So my question is, a person that failed, that we gave him over $2 million to modernize the radio room, we supposedly, according to Mr. Morelli, we are in the process of taking him to court for non-compliance. That same person is getting about $850,000 a year in the contract for communications between police department, fire department, and supposedly those communications are failing all the time. But now we are giving him a prize. Yes. We are helping him install the antenna so that he could have a perfect signal to the. I understand that our police department and our fire department definitely need the communication. Yes. So, yes. But the process of not informing the residents, not going by, because I understand in the law that there have to be a public hearing in planning and a public hearing in zoning. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe that's supposed to be the process. How can an employee of planning, an employee of zoning, sign off on the plan? One of them told me, I called the person coming over, yes, there was no meetings, I signed off on it. And the other lady supposedly signed off on it also, from planning. How could that happen? How could that happen? Why weren't those residents notified? Was shocked. His business is right in the area. He didn't know when I called him. He said, well, I'm not aware of what's going on there. I know that the guy, I see something going on there. But he wasn't aware that they were in the process of constructing this town. Have to be at least 100 or 150 feet tall. And then inside that town, they're going to start this 5G antenna. But the same that happens with waterworks, the same that happens with public works. When our residents are going to be notified by letter, by mail, at home if possible, of what's going on. They find out and they see the construction and say, look, what's going on? Mr. Colon, he had kids, there's a lot of children here. And those signals, they affect the car. Probably Ms. Abdul, she's the head of health department, you know about that. It's not done in one day, as Mr. Manali told me, oh, but you use your 5G every day. You sell phone, and you don't have cancer. No, I survived cancer already. Cancer can electrically. I'm concerned about those things, because it's a little bit later, in 20, 30 years, those residents, yes, they will be affected. Little bit by little bit, yes, these studies have been done, and yes, those signals, they affect, they create cancer eventually. If you're exposed continuously to that. Not with my cell phone, that's a little bit, oh, it's 5 gig, and that's what Mr. Yoshi told me. You're exposed to it every day with your cell phone. It's very sarcastic, as if our residents don't have it. The health of our residents don't have it. We'll follow this up. Thank you very much.
Councilman Joseph Harris?
I wanted to let everybody know this weekend we're having to clean up the Villa Park from 9 to 2. So if anybody in the community really like to come out and help out the community, kind of agree with Blakely, Mr. Blakely over here. This council is going to work together. We seem to be getting anything done. That's a shame. We hope things change. Thank you.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson?
Yes, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I want to thank the directors for bearing with us through this long evening. It was never my intention to start free speech by taking away the second public comment, because usually on Tuesday, if we do our due diligence, it's a very long night. And Thursday should not be a long night, which gives more time for the constituents to be able to come up and speak, and they don't have to sit here until 9:30 to wait to make public comment. But I don't have an issue. If everybody's upset about it and this body chooses that they want to revert back, that's fine with me too, either way. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming, and if I don't see some of you, have a wonderful Easter with your families. Thank you.
Councilman Blakely?
You know, I am just, I apologize to the people of the city of Trenton. I have been fighting for basic fairness up here. My fight is not with individuals, it's with ideas. I personally don't have a problem with any one of my colleagues, but what I do have a problem with is some of their actions. And so I'll use this as an example.
you had someone in this audience that waited for more than 2.5 hours to say something to us. And we said, not we, the council president said, no, we don't want to hear what you have to say. Sit down, in essence. Then we have someone say that that wasn't their intention. Well, who cares what your intention was? We care what the outcome is. And so I did a little reading about petitioning your government. Some of these people may have missed intro to U.S. government in their time or lack of time in high school, in college. But I'll read what the Constitution makes very clear. The government shall make no law abridging the right of the people to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's from the First Amendment. So, some of my colleagues may not know what abridging means. So let's go to the definition of abridging. Give me 1 second. So I want you all to know what abridging means. Abridging means, when it pertains to law, means curtail a right or privilege. So when we tell people who come up here and have something to say that you can't do it, that's what we're doing. We are abridging their right to redress their government. Now I want to read a little bit more about this because, as I mentioned, some of my colleagues may not have gotten this in Intro to U.S. Government, but I have. The petition clause concludes the First Amendment's ring and enumeration of expressive rights and in many ways support them all. Petition is the right to ask government at any level to right a wrong or correct a problem. Although a petition is only as meaningful as its response, the petitioning right allows blocks of public interest to form, harnessing voting power in ways that affect change. The right to petition allows citizens to focus government attention on unresolved ills, provide information to elected leaders about unpopular policies, expose misconduct, waste, corruption, and incompetence, and this is important, vent popular frustrations without endangering the public order. Yet the petition clause seems to strike most courts and legal commentators as obvious and uninteresting. Well, that's not obviously the case here. Because we, as a body, my colleagues, voted to make this a possibility. What I'm hoping is that my ordinance 19-32 is that it gives you the power to come up here at any time that you want to say what you want. That's your right as an American citizen. It's enshrined in the Constitution. And here we have people with whatever intentions that they purport to have, basically saying, sit down and be quiet, we don't want to hear what you have to say. And then when they attempt to rationalize that, they say that the meeting is too long. But the fact of the matter is, if the meeting is too long, then maybe this isn't the place for you. If you want to go home and take a nap, go right ahead and do that. But if people are in this audience for 2-3 hours and they're here to say something, and as a body we are saying that they can't say it, then shame on us. Shame on the people who are allowing this to happen. The fact of the matter is, I am against bad ideas. That's what I'm against. I'm against undemocratic policies. Case in point, I wanted to introduce an ordinance that would give the power back to council members to make judgments on ordinances and resolutions as we see fit. Right now, the council president is empowered. For the first time in our city's history, she is empowered to make unilateral decisions on this council's behalf. You have members of this body who were among the most vehement opponents of her getting that power, and the opportunity to do something about it, they deflect. They shirk their previous opposition to it, and for some whatever reason, they decide not to do the right thing. So, I just don't understand. I'm so glad. I'm going to encourage, we need new people in elected office. We need them badly. I'm imploring people. I will donate to your campaign personally. Some of these people have old ideas. They can't even be bothered to stay here long because they get tired. We need to vote these people out. They need to go. I thank God that their tenure on this body is short. I can't wait for them to just ride off to the sunset. And so, please, I implore Trentonians who are listening, there's a better way. Vote against these people in 3 years. I will personally write you a check to take some of these people out. Because I'm frustrated. Some of my colleagues are opposed to me calling some of their actions stupid. They take great personal offense with me calling their actions stupid. And I thought about it. Maybe I used the word unfairly. And then I'm reminded of a quote from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said that there is nothing more dangerous in the world than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. If Dr. King, with a PhD in systemic theology from Boston University, a bachelor's in theology from Crozer Seminary, and a Bachelor of Arts from Morehouse College, if he can use the word stupid, so can I. Because I'm not referring to who they are personally, I'm speaking to their decisions. Because there's no other word to explain it. I search high and low for a word to explain it. And so all I'm doing when I refer to their actions as stupid is using language from the great orator and American statesman, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Because I think it's asinine when we tell people who've been here for 2.5 hours that they can't share with the government that they voted for their feelings. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous when my colleagues make boneheaded decisions like their terrible decision with the Pritzdale deal. I still will never forgive them for their craven stupidity on that particular deal. Now, my colleagues have shared with me on many occasions in the last week that they were offended by my use of stupid. But I'm also reminded of that great American philosopher, Forrest Gump, that stupid is as stupid does. I am merely assigning a characterization of their lack of understanding, their propensity to mix stuff up, their obvious fact pattern of denying the people the right to say their due diligence and to say their piece to their government. And so, I'm happy because from what I understand, many of these people are on the tail end of their political career. I am happy. We talked about a plan today to build up the area around the Trent House. I'm happy that these people won't be here in 2026. They won't be here to mess it up. They'll be gone. they'll be with their cats, they'll be in another area, they'll be wherever. But they won't be here to mess it up. And for that, I am happy. Because one thing that I'm certain of, I'll be here when they're not. There will be other people who will be here to replace them. So we'll have some sensible representation in the North Ward. We'll have some sensible representation in the South Ward. And so on and so forth. So Trenton, it looks dark now. We have people here who just don't get it. But thank God their time is short and our time is long. They will be gone. And Trenton can move forward and hopefully recover from their anti-democratic, their nonsensical, and old ways of thinking. Mr. Harris, how long do I have left? What's that? You are watching? I guess I have 10 more minutes left. Well, bye. You said you're leaving. Bye.
I don't answer to you.
You don't answer to your constituents either.
I guess I do.
Yeah, sure about that. So the fact of the matter is,
You need to stop offending everybody in this room.
well, you need to stop. You need to start making better decisions. It is my time on the floor. You had your time. You used your time, so I'm talking. So, I have a community meeting tomorrow. I look forward to seeing residents of the Great Historic North Ward coming to Mercer County Community College at 6:30 tomorrow at the James Kearney Building on Broad Street. I really am excited to see people there. It's going to be a really, really robust conversation. And we're going to discuss the great things that are happening in the city of Trenton and the obstructionists and the people who are in the way of progress. And so I'm going to continue reading about the right to petition our government because it's important that these people get a history lesson. So, where should I start? Well, there's how long? How much time left? We're just making stuff up. I just asked how much longer my time was, and then they're just making it up. But my point is made. I'm done for the day. I look forward to seeing people at my community meeting tomorrow. Enjoy your stay, enjoy your day, and that's all I have to say.
I thank each and every one of you for coming out this evening. I would like to say to the business administrator that one of my colleagues has been given a cease and desist letter from a police officer looking to file a lawsuit against the city. To me, that's where stupidity lies. When you put the city at risk for lawsuits on top of lawsuits.
No, you're not.
I would like for the business administrator to have a conversation with the police department about sensitivity training. I believe that it is necessary for us to move forward with the police department being able to relate to the people that they serve. And I've never heard of or have any knowledge of the police department undergoing sensitivity training. And I think that's important for the police, and I think it's also important for our residents. So I would like if we could start that conversation, that dialogue with the police department. And I understand that in order to do that, we will probably have to be looking at the 2020 budget because of the expense. But I also believe that not to do it will cost the city hundreds of thousands of dollars, because when you have lawsuit on top of lawsuits, I think that's not good for the city. So I think we have to weigh that. That's a conversation that I believe that we should have with the police department. And I also would like to talk about the housing rehab. The young lady said that she had been on the list. I'm so concerned about that list because, it was a chronological list. So the people that signed up in 2012, that list should have, we should be working, I know this doesn't sound good, but we should at least be working in 2013 and 2014 on the housing list. You know, that is a long time, 7 years and only 44 houses has been done. That is extremely, that's a low percentage. So I'm just hoping that under the 2020 budget, we'll be able to strengthen some of our departments, like the inspection department, like the housing and economic department, get the apparatuses that the police department needs, and allow us to bring on more sanitation workers for while it's important to strengthen up our departments as we move forward. So although we haven't had a chance to discuss that, because there's always something to detract us from and help us lose our focus on what we should be discussing here, we need to talk about strengthening every department in the city in order for the Trenton will be better for it in the years to come. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but I do believe that we need to put a pitch out to DCA. We have to be able to come to some type of compromise with DCA as far as our departments are concerned. I think that DCA is forcing us to do an 11% tax raise on the people. I don't think that DCA has that type of power to force us to do that. I think that we had gotten the percent, the dollar amount down to 5 cents. I mean, the cents down to 5. I think that it should have stayed at 5 cents for DCA to tell us that no, 5 cents is not enough, that you have to tax the people at 11 cents. I don't think that they should be making that call. I think that should be left to the legislative body. Those are some of the things that I would like to talk about and how we can move the city forward in our next budget. And so with that, I will say thank you to each and every one of you again for coming out, sitting through this tedious program tonight, and enjoy your Easter vacation. I hope you all have a good time with your family. Mr. Harris, I would like to put a motion on the floor for adjournment.